Good morning, welcome to AM Ghana Breakfast Show here on Adoatv Television. The name is Reginald Robertson, you can call me your morning star. It's been an interesting and exciting weekend, I believe you had yours too. But today marks day 6 of the Lenten season. I believe that you are also going to make your individual confessions and intentions being known to yourself. And whilst we journey to the cross, I hope that you are going to journey well and hope that you'll be joining the afternoon meditation to at 12:30 whilst our facilitators take you through some moments of prayer, reflections, and what have you. Today on AM Ghana, we have a lot for you. A lot in the sense that we have Dr. Dominic Anyini being asked to go and purge for himself, which he did. He went after yesterday being cited for contempt in court over a comment he made somewhere last week. And then subsequently, yesterday when the court told him to go and apologize and retract, he didn't wait till next week Thursday. He had to go and do it immediately. He even read a letter that he has sent to the Chief Justice ahead. And this is a very good move on the part of the council. We'll also be talking about that. Now, the issues concerning the LGBTQI is still looming on the airwaves. We'll be talking about it. Today, our focus as a channel is, do we have LGBT present in our senior high schools? How best are we doing to curb and then deter our students from the growing exigence of LGBTQI? We'll be having issues concerning that too. The vaccines, the FDA is saying that the COVID-19 vaccines are safe to use. Do you think you feel safe to use it? Should you or should you not use it? What are the reactions that one person is likely to show when you go or undertake the vaccine? You have to take 2 doses. Yes, 2 doses of it. We are going to have conversations on this particular one. These are among other matters we'll be talking to about. And then certainly fallout from the 9-0 review application that the petitioner, John Dramani Mahama, in the election 2020 petition, as he sent to court yesterday on a review to reopen his case, was quashed once again. Because from the ruling of the court, they are saying that it looks hollow in the sense that there's no substance. There is no substance, quote in unquote. That is what the ruling means to me. We'll be looking at it, be speaking to our lawyer friends to give us all the educations they can give us concerning this particular one here on AM Ghana. We have a lot for you. Streaming live on Facebook at Adoatv Television Ghana and also on YouTube at Adoatv_GH. We're going to go a quick break to give felicitation to our sponsors. When we come back, go through the newspaper headlines, newspaper review, and do all to have our conversations being kickstart. This is AM Ghana. Stay tuned.
And that's when you sign. Now, Jackson makes you in the soup.
Dabra malaria near would you be privy? Hey, Jackson makes a near ocean one what you are. No, I'm young red. Wapas, chicken one. Jackson Mr. So, and Fania grow.
Malaria and Quadia, no me Jackson mixer. Now, bet yes, King Kane.
They won't any more about food, about marble flower for. About flower when you feel you and no murdering. Jackson have a mister only size.
Numun super na wanya pomuden. Se wo ba numun so a, hwe hu ni se eye mega purified mineral water. Eye nso a yetu ni baby pa. Asaso ni so se kroje. Se wonya mega purified mineral water bogu ubu a, wo see you manumun super. Mega mineral water de edanso. Esan say the modern technology so na ye. Ede ne nkabia ni atri. Mega purified mineral water. Bacteria na mhen wa berem. Eye very hygienic. Obia di wadanse. Mega mineral water neatly packaged for 500 ml bottles mu. Na wani bosua na ukon donsio. Ubenya Migo purified mineral water to bebia. To phone call Dodo wa amount 40 per junction. And now for 050-7055-409 and now 055-392-1088. Migo purified mineral water. Akona kono.
John, who fin you? Wow, Eddie, what boy juma. I check a roofing now. Oh, you fell one casa from Asatek. Oh, na same roofing is a baby bray, nice keke. Why the catcher? Asatek roofing sheet dear, and your nice keke with the bodan swa a chee and renache. They want to call us a hood of a fair be bray. No free roofing sheet no dear. Who near that will be out. Now so the bodan swa a zero supampe. What means which Roman send your open roofing sheet no? You try the salmon pepe. Mama poor Asatek money there. One of my technical advice na estimate free or professional installers so aware your on-site installation. Ni boss kura dafon pa. Oh yes, quality ni bo dafamine. Asatek 5 days pay na musa kan order na wo year after sales service proper bin so. Hwehwe Asatek Watema Community 2, Meridian Road, Ebenkoko Board Warehouse, Western Region so Asatek Takrade Anaji, Yeni Princeland Hotel and the Shinimu, and the Volta Region yawo Akachi South District Assembly Kwano so wa.
Go, good people of Ghana. Here are some safety measures on prevention of coronavirus. 1. Cover your mouth with tissue when you cough or sneeze. Dispose of tissue into a bin immediately you cough into it and wash your hands with soap under running water. Avoid shaking hands and use sanitizers as often as you can. Signs and symptoms of coronavirus include fever, cough, sneezing, and difficulty in breathing. Should you experience any of these, or for more inquiries, please contact 0558 439 868. That's 0558 439 868. Or call 0509 497 700. That's 0509 497 700.
Remember to always wash your hands with soap and running water.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Service, and partners.
That's how the truth and accuracy every day, the daily graphic. COVID-19 vaccine safe and effective. FDA assures public. COVID-19 vaccine safe and effective. FDA assures public. This one is coming from the Food, Drugs and Authority, and they're saying that COVID-19 vaccine is safe for usage. Still on page 13, the Kwabenya Traditional Council threatens to burn down LGBTQI meeting place. COVID-19 issues at one side on page 13, and still on page 13, LGBTQI meeting place to be burnt down by the Traditional Council for Kwabenya. Story on page 13. Let's go and have a quick read into it. A quick read on page 13 indicates very strongly that the tension is brewing in the Kwabenya community in the Gan East municipality of the Greater Accra region following an alleged meetings of lesbians, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and then intersex LGBTQI members in a house there. The Kwabenya Traditional Council has therefore threatened to go after those behind the meeting and burn the house down because it's established that the alleged meeting took place in the community. There are allegations that a house at Ashoman, a community under the Kwabenya Traditional Council, has been hosting LGBTQI meetings. The last meeting is believed to have been held last Wednesday. The traditional leaders indicated that they had initiated investigations in that regard. We won't accept it. Speaking to the journalist yesterday at Kwabenya, the public relations officer for the Kwabenya Traditional Council, Ni Mensa Janyongo, said the council would not accept the hosting of members of LGBTQI community in its areas. He said the council had information that a group of people who claim to be LGBTQI held a meeting in a house at Ashoman last week. He said the council was not happy about the development and has since launched investigations into the matter to ascertain the truth or otherwise. Ni Janyongmo, who is also the Kwabenya Mukusu Mahene, Musuku Mahene, said the council would not hesitate to set ablaze the house where the meeting was held when investigations established that it took place. We won't sit down for Kwabenya to gain a bad name that the LGBTQI meeting grounds or office is located at Kwabenya Ashoman, he said. Close of the office. There has been a number of calls to the Ghana Police Service to close down the office of the LGBTQ after news broke that an office had been opened in Accra. The location of the meeting ground of the LGBT community in Ghana was made public after the Executive Secretary of the National Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Values, Dr. Moses Fuamoni, called on the government to close down the newly opened LGBTQ office in Tesano. The National Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Values is made up of Christian Council, the Catholic Bishops' Conference, and the Muslim community and traditional leaders. Mr. Fuamoni said at the press conference a fortnight ago that the body was certified with coalition focus on fighting LGBTQI agenda in Ghana. He said the coalition would turn its heat on President Akufo-Addo should he fail to heed their call to close down the office of the LGBTQI. Now, checks with the police also indicate that no move has been made to close down the LGBTQI office. This is what the Daily Graphic has reported. Yes, and I am here in Adoatv around 2 a.m. I understand the president has ordered that the office be closed down. Maybe we're trying to make calls to reach Fuamoni, who happens to be like, I'll call him the whistleblower in recent times, to see if truly a move has been made to close down the LGBTQI office at Tesano. Elsewhere on page 20, 300,000 small businesses receive government stimulus package of COVID-19. See story on page 20. The big story here is go, purge yourself. Supreme Court orders Anyini. The scandalous, disappointing and regrets were some of the words that reverberated throughout the Supreme Court yesterday when the court cited former Deputy Attorney General Dr. Dominic Anyini for contempt of court. Wearing a brown suit and posing a subic demeanor, Dr. Anyini accepted his guilt for scandalizing the highest office of the land and was subsequently ordered by the court to purge himself of those contemptuous comments. He should go and apologize for the harm he has caused to the legal profession and the bench, the 7-member panel said yesterday. Story continues on page 3 of the newspaper. Presided over by Justice Yeboah Enin, Chief Justice, ordered the former Deputy Attorney General in the first and so far only person to be cited for contempt of court in relation to the 2020 presidential election petition filed by John Dramani Mahama, a candidate of the National Democratic Congress in the 2020 presidential election. On the judgment day, the court has fixed March 4th this year to deliver its judgment on the petition, in which the petitioner is challenging the declaration of by the Electoral Commission that Akufo-Addo has won the election, the candidate of the New Patriotic Party, and the date fixed after a dismissal of the review application by the petitioner, which was urging the court to change its ruling not to allow him to reopen his case. Contemptuous comment. It comes further, and there about that. that is all about the story. That it continues again on page 20. Go and read further into it. At the back page of the Daily Graphic, Takoradi Gas installs oxygen at Ifia Nkwanta Hospital. Takoradi Gas installs oxygen at Ifia Nkwanta Hospital. 5 suspects in Fomena Boulevard robbery arrested. 5 suspects in Fomena Boulevard robbery arrested. Grab copy, read further into it. Now, from the Daily Graphic, let's move to the most authoritative newspaper, the Ghanaian Times. On the ongoing election petition, Supreme Court dismisses review motion, hands over defeat to petitioner. Hands over defeat to petitioner. Supreme Court dismisses review motion, hands over defeat to petitioner. You have a picture of the Chief Justice in Yeboah here. Ban on rosewood export still enforced. The Lands Ministry is saying ban on rosewood export still in force. Rose Ministry is saying Ghana's COVID-19 dose land this week. Ghana's COVID-19 vaccine dose lands this week. And you have they've given the roadmap and the parameters on which the dose is going to be given. The Ghana Coalition of NGOs in Health is calling for intense education and risk communication of the coronavirus disease vaccines as Ghana takes delivery of its first dose this week. According to the coalition, this was critical to build the confidence of citizens on the efficacy of the vaccines to avail themselves for vaccination. The undue delay of public education is worrying. We are making some efforts, but it must be intensified. Government must immediately secure various traditional and online platforms and flood with communication with on the vaccines, the type we are receiving, how safe it is, and other messages that needs to go out to be clear or to clear any doubts in the minds of the people. The chairman of the coalition, Bright Emisa Nyako, said in an interview with the Ghanaian Times yesterday, if we are able to get the enlightened ones well informed about the vaccines to accept them, a few once left, we can engage civil society groups and other pressure groups to sensitize them on how they have successfully implementing the vaccines. And this goes on there and there and there and there. But the Ghana Health Service also say that the Greater Accra Ashanti region will be patronized in the vaccines rollout as a result of the prevalence of the infections in these areas. Currently, Ghana has 6,658 active COVID-19 cases, with 577 as of when this report was filed. So let's see how this all goes in. More than half Accra residents don't wear nose masks. That one there, it is true. The GN surveillance has said that one there, it is true. Most people, especially when you go to the very, very, very sub Accra areas, they just don't wear it. COVID-19 coronavirus injections is going to take place. We'll be having conversations on this one subsequently. Now, that is it for the front page of the newspaper. Grab the copy and read the stories on pages 16, 17, and other pages as well. Elsewhere, the EPA and MPA urge to verify safety of 4 stations. Elsewhere, Savelugu Hospital closed down over increased COVID-19 cases among staff. That is very bad. Savelugu Hospital closed down over increased COVID-19 cases among staff. That is what the Ghanaian Times has filed today. Elsewhere, so the Daily Graphic, Ghana's favorite newspaper, Mama bounced at 9-0. Mama bounced 9-0. Judgment set for 4th March, 2 days to independence. Judgment set for 4th March, 2 days to independence. Now, LGBT office shut down. Religious bodies speak. LGBT office shut down. Religious bodies speak. Story is on page 6. Dominic Anyini docked for contempt. Police track SHS graduate over bullion van robbery. 5 nabbed. So the police has been able to track the senior high school student graduate John Apia, aka Omega, aka Omega. He's been tracked down with 5 being arrested. Yesterday, Mr. Charles Mensah, the husband of Jane Mensah, in fact, flanked to to court yesterday. It's a very beautiful picture that the Daily Guide is having here at the front page of the newspaper. So we have the EC boss, Madam Jane Mensah, and her husband, Charles Mensah, entering the courtroom yesterday. Beautiful, romantic masterman. It's wow, I understand. Like, behind every successful woman there's a man. Charles Mensah has proven that yes, is the man behind Jane Adoatv Mensah. At the front page of the Daily Guide. At the back page of the Daily Guide is issues concerning sports. Coach J.E. Sapon runs away from Hart's job. Coach J.E. Sapon runs away from Hart's job. We did not focus on our crisis. We didn't focus on our crisis. And Accra House of Folk has said. And either issues concerning Messi, Ronaldo, Mons, Ronaldinho. Messi, and then Ronaldo, Mons, Ronaldinho. That is it with the some sports item there. Grab copy of the Daily Guide, read further into it. From one daily to another daily, let's move to the Daily Statesman. The Daily Statesman. The Finance and Economic Planning Minister designated to be vetted on March 8th. Finance and Economic Planning Minister designate to be vetted on March 8th. So that is about 2 days from independence. The Monday after Independence Day, that is when they are going to vet this fine gentleman. You know, Independence Day has been suspended. Television is suspended. So today, this year, are going to have a COVID-19 independence celebration. March 4th is Judgment Day. March 4th is Judgment Day. Supreme Court dismisses another review application from Mahama. Ghana will tackle emerging health challenges. Foreign Minister Designate assures Ghana will tackle emerging health challenges. See story on page 2 of the newspaper. At the back page of the Daily Statesman, Jose Mourinho, Spurs have problems. I cannot resolve them, but not in crisis. They said they have problems, but they are not in crisis. I don't need a manager now. Emmanuel Gameboy Tego, it's saying. Emmanuel Gameboy Tego is saying that I don't need a manager. Now, big ups to you, Gameboy. If you don't need it to, no problem for you. Now, let's move to the Chronicle in Kundu Wasizwe, Sphere of the Nation, the True Independent. It's saying that suspects in the Fomina bullion van robbery arrested. Suspects in the Fomina bullion van arrested. And then we have Bismarck Ubusu. Shanka Ubesi, 29 years. We have Amuzu Titus, 23 years. We have Kofi Matthew, aka Waisa, 24 years. We have Kojo Japan, aka Kabista, 30 years. Martin Tai, aka Kojo Dakon, 26. So Ononkwa, he has Martin Tai, aka Kojo Dakon, meaning he has another name. They've all been nabbed there. So big ups to the Ghana Police Service in Fomina for a wonderful job they've done concerning this robbery. And then we have SGS GT Net thrown out of court over surveillance package payment to workers. Elsewhere, or the big one here is the law falls on Prophet Uzziah for soccer. The law falls on Prophet Uzziah for soccer. My lords, my point I wish to make on that is, if you permit me, is that God is the God of conscience, and God does not use court processes to elicit conscience. And therefore, you do not bring God into the courtroom to now claim that because of God, application should be granted. That's my response. The EC Council said, quote and unquote. Let me take it again. My lords, my point I wish to make on that is, if you permit me, is that God is a God of conscience. And God does not use court processes to elicit conscience, and therefore, you do not bring God into the courtroom to now claim that because of God, application should be granted. That's my response. This one is coming from the star lawyer, Justin Amenuvo, the first respondents lead counsel in the ongoing election petition. The back page of the Chronicle are some sports items there today's run of 16 UEFA Champions League. Atletico Madrid, Chelsea in intriguing fixture. Atletico Madrid, Chelsea in intriguing fixture. Then we have Lazio set to upset Bayern Munich. And then a roadmap to rescue troubled Barcelona start 7th match. So that's all for the UEFA Champions League, among its other related issues of sports at the back page of the Chronicle. Now let's take today's quote. It's taken from Psalm 50 verse 15. Psalm 50 verse 15. And they call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver you, and you shall glorify me. And call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver you, and you shall glorify me. Psalm 50 verses 15. I don't know who is in trouble and who is calling upon the God in midst of trouble. But that is what they are saying. Now, let's move to other issues on the new Crusading Guide. Takrady Technical University lecturer in court for cyber crime offences, accused of defamation and publication of false news. CSO's religious leaders must kick against LGBTQI. Razak Kojo Opoku is saying. Petitioner commends PIPS. Amenfi East rejects MCE as concerned citizens. Rejects petition president. As concerned citizens petition president over the Amenfi East MCE. Illegal mining looms in Adanse North. Illegal mining looms in Adanse North. And then we have Pompo River under threat. Election petition. Supreme Court throws Mama out on review application set forth March for Judgment Day. March 4th for Judgment Day. That is all for the new Crusading Guide. At the back page, there's some advertisement there. Grab a copy of the new Crusading Guide, read further into it. This is the end of the newspaper headlines. You're going to go on a quick time. When we come back, we enter into some of the stories and then start with our phone lines conversations here on AM Ghana. Do stay tuned, be right back.
Numun super na wanya pomuden. Se wo benum so a, hwe hu ni se eye mega purified mineral water. Eye nso a yeto ni baby pa. Asaso ni so se kronje. Se wonya mega purified mineral water bogu ubu a, wo see you manum super. Mega mineral water de edanso. Esan say the modern technology so na aye. Ede na nkabia ni atri. Mega purified mineral water. Bacteria na mhen wa berem. Eye very hygienic. Obia di wadanse. Mega mineral water neatly packaged for 500 ml bottles mu. Na wani boswa na wo donsio. Wo benya mega purified mineral water to bebia. To phone call dodo wa amount for Tipa Junction. Ana fre 050-7055-409 ana 055-392-1088. Mega purified mineral water. Akona kono.
Do you know that we have phenomenal influence on our various regulatory bodies? How many of these regulatory bodies do you know within the country? Are you aware you can lodge your complaints if and when you are not satisfied with a product or service? How often do you ask the relevant questions? Whom do you call when things are not rightly done? Connect with me on Regulators on Adoatv as we deliberate on the purpose of these regulatory institutions, their functions, accomplishments, and shortcomings. We ask the back-breaking questions and get the unpolished truth. Be a part of our conversations.
And that's what you're saying. Jackson mixture no industry.
Ya bre malaria ni ewuje bebrebe. Ah. Hey. Jackson mixture ni ewuje no wanu watwa. No. Yanam yomre. Wapasu chichi wana. Jackson mixture. Jackson mixture. Jackson mixture. So and Vanya grow. Uti yo ya. Wanu munya ode. Award wana.
Malaria and quadia, no Jackson mixture. Now, bet yes, king.
They won't any more about a fur, about my flower. About flower when you feel me and no murdering. Jackson have a mister only size.
John, who fin you? Wow, Adoatv, Eddie, one boy Juma. I check a roofina, or you fell one cassa from Adoatv. Oh, now Simon, roofing is a baby bray, nice keke. Why the catcher? Adoatv roofing sheet dear, and your nice keke, with the bodan swa a chee and renache. They want a calisa who go for fair be bray. No one free roofing sheet, no dear. Who near that will be out. Now, so the bodan swa, a year supampe. Which means which Roma send your open roofing sheet, you try the summer pepe. Mamma poor Adoatv money there. One of my technical advice na estimate free or professional installers so aware your on-site installation ni boss crowd da from pa. Oh yes, quality ni boda feminine Adoatv 5 days pay na unsa kan order na wa year after sales service proper bin so hwehwe Adoatv Watema Community 2 Meridian Road Ebenkoko Board Warehouse Western Region so Adoatv Takrade Anaji yene Princeland Hotel and di hwene mu and a Volta Region yawo Akachi South District Assembly kwan so ha.
Go, good people of Ghana. Here are some safety measures on prevention of coronavirus. 1. Cover your mouth with tissue when you cough or sneeze. Dispose of tissue into a bin immediately you cough into it and wash your hands with soap and the running water. Avoid shaking hands and use sanitizers as often as you can. Signs and symptoms of coronavirus include fever, cough, sneezing, and difficulty in breathing. Should you experience any of these, or for more inquiries, please contact 0558 439 868. That's 0558 439 868. Or call 0509 497 700. That's 0509 497 700.
Remember to always wash your hands with soap and the running water.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Service, and partners.
Welcome back from that quick turn. You're watching AM Ghana Breakfast Show here on Adoatv Television. The court gave a ruling concerning the reopening of the case after the petitioner had closed its case. But as a result of like an element of surprise from that of the first respondent, they said that they are also not going to call in any witness from their side, with the second respondent fell in that tangent. In that element of that ambush that came on the petitioner, if I'm permitted to use that line of words, afforded the court to give open a debate on the closure of it and why they are not calling witnesses. The petitioner filed a motion to seek leave to reopen his case after he has opened, because his opening has come to record. Yesterday, the lead counsel said he closed his case and he meant it. And reopening his case too, he means it. He gave a whole litany of arguments to convince the 9 justices, because they have to reconstitute, a 7 reconstituted to make 9, for them to hear the review motion. The court, in a unanimous decision, 9-0, said no, we sustain the initial ruling that has been given. Let's go back and catch claims of yesterday's ruling in court.
He was invoking the inherent jurisdiction of the court on account of there being no specific rule of court to support the application being urged on the court. In his supporting documentation, it was the position of counsel for the petitioner that the chairperson of the first respondent had sworn to affidavits in which he had made the positions to the effect that he would be available for cross-examination. According to counsel for petitioner, these were the positions or notes which the chairperson of the first respondent ought to be bound by. He submitted that in law, the statement that he was available for cross-examination was to be conclusively presumed against her under Section 26 of the Evidence Act 1975 NRCD 323, and this should form the basis on which the court should order her to testify as a witness for the petitioner. He submitted further that it was the intention of petitioner to call her as an adverse witness pursuant to Section 72 of the Evidence Act. Counsel for petitioner failed to indicate to the court the nature of the subpoena he intended to issue and what kind of testimony exactly he was expecting the chairperson of first respondent to bring to his aid in her personal capacity. It must be understood that under Order 38 Rule 10 Sub 1, the writ of subpoena a party may issue to invite a witness may be a subpoena ad testificandum, to compel the witness to testify, or ad tecum, to compel the party to produce documents in support of the party's case. Counsel for petitioner variously said that the chairperson of EC is to testify to the court on the truths behind the errors that the petitioner has outlined from her declaration in his petition, and also to account for how she conducted her constitutional duty as a returning officer for the presidential elections, particularly with the final collation of voting returns resulting in the Form 13 and the CI 127. This application to reopen his case for the sole purpose of issuing a subpoena to the chairperson of the first respondent to appear and testify as an adverse witness for the petitioner after all the parties had closed their cases was dismissed because the court in its ruling and the review clarified that the application was not supported by any law or settled practice. As a policy court, and the court whose decision must be followed by all courts, we set out in our decision of 16th February 2021 the settled boundaries that every court must comply with if called upon to exercise their discretion and allow a party to reopen their case for the admission of new evidence. They are in 2 broad areas as follows. 1, would the evidence, if it had been presented during the trial, have had any influence on the result? 2, could the evidence have been obtained before or during the trial by the exercise of reasonable diligence? The review jurisdiction of the Supreme Court is properly invoked under Rule 54 of the Supreme Court Rules 1996 CI 16 and requires the satisfaction of 2 grounds. A, exceptional circumstances which have resulted in miscarriage of justice. B, discovery of new and important matter or evidence which after the exercise of due diligence was not within the applicant's knowledge or could not be produced by him at the time that the decision was given. Counsel for petitioner has for this court to A, fail to find that the first respondent depositions about being available for cross-examination should be conclusively presumed against her, such that she should be compelled to testify as a witness of the petitioner. He urges that this failure to properly construe Section 26 of NRCD 323 is a fundamental error of law. He also urges that this court's construction of adverse witness by relying on the definition contained in Black's Law Dictionary instead of Section 72 of Evidence Act constitutes another fundamental error. Third, he urges that by dismissing the petitioner's application to reopen his case for the sole purpose of calling the Electoral Commissioner as a witness of the petitioner, this court is shielding her and enabling her to evade cross-examination, contrary to a position she had deposed to earlier in the processes in this petition. It is the position of counsel for petitioner that the chairperson of first respondent is required to appear and testify to the truth of what happened in the election in dispute to account to the people of Ghana for her stewardship as the returning officer of the presidential election, for which she had issued a first declaration and corrected that declaration with a press release the next day. She was also required to clarify matters arising during the cross-examination of the petitioner's witnesses. We disagree with counsel for the petitioner on all these grounds, urging alleged fundamental errors as constituting exceptional circumstances. This is a court of law and not a forum for suppositions. It must be stated that courts of law administer justice in accordance with law and settled practice, and no court can afford to lose sight of this. Further, this is the highest and the last court of the land, and our decisions on the questions of law have binding effect on all other courts. Thus, before this court accedes to any application that is not covered by statute, the rules of court, or known general principles of law applicable in this jurisdiction, this court must ensure that it's not opening a Pandora box that can become a stepping stone for abuse of court processes at other levels of the judicial system. The interest of justice is not only the interest of one party in the dispute, but must necessarily be an outcome arrived at through the proper balance of what the law has prescribed as the duties of the court to all parties and the duties of the parties to each other. Thus, when the court has to exercise discretion in an extraordinary situation, such as a party seeking to reopen his case after all parties have closed their cases, the court has to ensure that the discretion is consistent with statute, rules regulating procedure, principles of law, and settled practice of the courts. We have earlier in this ruling set out the guidelines that all courts must follow when determining applications for leave to reopen a party's case at any time after they had voluntarily closed their own case. Applicant has urged that this court failed to appreciate the import of Section 26 of the Evidence Act, NRCD 323. This submission is misconceived because we fully appreciated the submission of the petitioner's counsel, and found them wholly unsupported by any rule of law or rule of equity to which the conclusive presumptions is made subject. It is not the case, as urged by counsel for petitioner, that we allowed Order 38 Rule 3E5 of CI 47 as amended by CI 87 to take precedence over a substantive act of parliament. The Supreme Court reviewed the legal principles on the equitable doctrine of promissory estoppel that has been captured in Section 26 of the Evidence Act in the case of Clipper Leasing Corporation versus AG and Ghana Airways in liquidation, 2016, 100 GM, 1 Supreme Court. The holding of the court clarifies that for a statement to constitute conclusive presumption, it must be a statement of fact, and it must be clear, unequivocal, unambiguous, and unconditional. The promissor must have intended the promisee to act upon it, and the promisee must show that he acted on it and altered his position. Further, all the circumstances of the case will be taken into account in granting relief, and the usual maxims of equity will apply. From this premise, the first question to ask when a party alleges that a statement must be conclusively presumed against the maker of the statement is, was the promise clear, unequivocal, unambiguous, and unconditional? Was the promise and the context of the promise such that the promissor intended the promisee to act upon it? Did the promisee show that he acted on it and altered his position? In the context of the case before us, we are satisfied that the positions in issue cannot satisfy the minimum threshold of being clear, unequivocal, unambiguous, and unconditional undertakings of the first respondent herein to defend itself in this suit. At the time that the proceedings were made, the first respondent had already given notice in its answer that it considered the suit as disclosing no reasonable course of action and had gone on to file its submissions with respect to that position. All three parties had filed their submissions on this point. We found this to be the most determinative factor, that these depositions cannot be construed as clear and unambiguous undertakings that could give rise to a conclusive presumption that the first respondent will be defending itself in this suit. Again, the depositions were made by the chairperson of the first respondent as a representative of a party in this suit, and not in her personal capacity as a party in the suit. The decision whether or not to testify in the suit could only be that of the commission and not hers. The decision whether or not to personally testify on behalf of the first respondent commission is also not available to the chairperson because he is not a party to this suit. Further, cross-examination is only possible if there is examination in chief. Thus, if the first respondent, which is an organization, decided after the petitioner closed his case not to defend itself, the statements made as part of an affidavit in opposition indicating the options the petitioner could exercise if the interrogatories and other applications were disallowed cannot be said to have been unambiguous undertakings to submit either the commission through the chairperson or any other officer to cross-examination in a suit that it had not offered testimony in chief. Counsel for applicant has also urged that this court failed to consider Section 72 of the Evidence Act, but rather relied on the definition in Black Law's Dictionary, and so the ruling and the review was per incuriam. We find no merit in this submission. Black's Law Dictionary is a respected and reputable source book for the bench and legal practitioners. Reference to law dictionaries is an accepted and respectable practice in common law jurisdictions, including Ghana. Furthermore, there is no inconsistency and contradiction between the definition in Black's Law Dictionary and Section 72 of the Evidence Act, as already determined by the Supreme Court. In Ray Okan disease, Dodu and another, versus Okan and others, 2003-2004, one Supreme Court of Ghana report, page 582. We are certified that it is the nature of testimony proffered by a witness that allows a court to categorize that witness as an adverse witness or hostile witness, and not the description of the witness as such. And so the submission that the witness was to testify as an adverse witness was no answer to the need to clarify the objective of seeking leave to reopen the case and call the chairperson or the first respondent as a witness of the petitioner. Section 72 of the Evidence Act provides 72(1). Subject to the discretion of the court, in a civil action, a party or a person whose relationship to a party makes his interest substantially the same as a party may be called by any adverse party and examined as if on cross-examination at any time during the presentation of evidence by the party calling the witness. When such a witness is cross-examined by his own lawyer or by a party who is not adverse to the party with whom the witness is related, that examination is to be treated as if it was a re-examination. Clearly, the positive part of the provision in Section 72(1) is the fact that the person who calls such a witness has an interest that is adverse to that of the witness, and he is allowed to cross-examine the party he has called, and not that he merely described the witness as an adverse witness on the application to call the witness. In Ray Okan disease, Dodu and another versus Okan and others, Supra, the Supreme Court had the opportunity to review the distinction between an adverse witness and hostile witness. The court was clear that being an adverse or hostile does not arise from the description given by the party who called the witness, but the nature of testimony given by the witness. First, Dr. Sechuk JNC had this to say in clarification on the general nature of witnesses and the specific nature of adverse and hostile witnesses at page 599. Quote, as a result of the testimony of the third plaintiff witness, namely that he did not see either the testator or the second plaintiff witness sign the will, counsel for the executors applied for permission to treat him as a hostile witness. Learned counsel for the defendants was right when he submitted that the witness should be rather treated as adverse witness and not as a hostile one. The reason is that any attesting witness will be a witness of the court and not that of the party calling him, end of quote. Professor Kluje JSC went on to state as follows from page 626 in his evaluation of when the witness is an adverse or hostile witness and the effect of the testimonies of the two types of witnesses. Quote, the trial judge, with the benefit of observing the witness, may choose to believe an adverse witness or part of his testimony. The fact that a witness called by a party gives an adverse or contradictory testimony does not lead to the irresistible conclusion that the adverse witness is an untruthful witness. The witness may be an adverse witness precisely because he insists on telling the truth rather than commit perjury in support of the fabricated story of the party who called him. Usually, it is difficult to determine whether the witness is merely adverse or hostile when there is no previous statement by him with which he could be confronted. In my view, a witness is a hostile witness if it can be shown that he knows the truth but deliberately persists in lying to the court. There may be different ways of arriving at that decision, end of quote. We do not see any fundamental error or question by this court's evaluation of whether the chairperson will be an adverse witness merely by her description as such by counsel for petitioner, even before she brings any testimony to the court. The issue that was determined by the ordinary bench is whether it is proper for the court to exercise judicial discretion and allow the petitioner to reopen his case for the sole purpose of calling the chairperson of the first respondent as his witness by the issue of his subpoena. Our determination was that it would not be a proper exercise of judicial discretion, and we do not see the miscarriage of justice that our decision occasioned, since petitioner continues to insist on not disclosing what new material the proposed witness is to testify on, and how that new evidence can change a judgment that is yet to be given. Counsel for petitioner also contends that the ruling was in breach of Articles 19, Clause 13, and 296, as it was unreasonable and irrational. Counsel for petitioner failed to draw the court's attention to any unfair exercise of judicial discretion exhibited by the Supreme Court against the petitioner, just because the court refused his application to reopen the case he had closed and to serve a subpoena on the EC to serve as an adverse witness. He would like to reiterate a time-honored principle of the adversarial system we operate, quoting the Supreme Court in Clipper leasing case. Again, quote, the well-known policy of the law is that parties to a case in court are to know exactly what is that they are required to answer, and this is a requirement of fair hearing that the courts insist on. The requirement of fair hearing is a fundamental rule of natural justice, so a party cannot change its case on appeal when the opponent has no opportunity to adequately defend himself and lead requisite evidence in his or her defense. The petitioner purported to present his full case in the witness statement submitted after the depositions in issue had been made. On the strength of those testimonies, including that of a third witness petitioner later called, respondents closed their respective cases. If the petitioner intended to rely on the depositions in issue, the law required him to state as part of the testimonies he would rely on the specific testimonies or documents he wanted the chairperson of the first respondent that petitioner has summoned before us to produce to aid the petitioner's case on the alleged strength of the depositions. As part of pre-trial processes, the parties and this court could have had the opportunity to tell me if truly the documents were not available in petitioner's custody, as happened in the application to produce originals of the polling station results, or the testimony sought was relevant to the settlement of the matters in controversy in this petition, as happened in the application to serve interrogatories. Statutes are construed and applied as a whole. No party or court may take part of a law and urge it to be applicable while ignoring the rest of the statute. Sections 10 to 14 of the Evidence Act lays down the burden of producing evidence and the burden of persuasion squarely on the party that alleges any position of fact or issue of law. Further, we stick to the time-honored principles that the Supreme Court has adopted in circumstances in which it reviews its decisions. Thus, in the case of Mechanical Lloyd Assembly Plant versus Nati, 1987-88 Ghana Law Report 598, page 603 to 604, and the DJS stated, quote, "Let me say at once that for all I know, virtually every judgment on this earth arrived at as a result of evidence gathered from several sources can be criticized. A Privy Council judgment put in the hands of any lawyer, along with the evidence grounding it, can be criticized in the same way as a High Court judgment can be. A person who has lost a case will almost instinctively feel that the judgment must be wrong. And why not? If he had won, the decision would be right. So if he lost, how could the court be right? But the mere fact that a judgment can be criticized is no ground for asking that it should be reviewed. The review jurisdiction is a special jurisdiction to be exercised in exceptional circumstances. It is not an appellate jurisdiction. It is a kind of jurisdiction held in reserve to be prayed in aid in exceptional situations when a fundamental and basic error may have inadvertently been committed by the court, which error must have occasioned a gross miscarriage of justice. The review jurisdiction is not intended as a try-on by a party after losing an appeal, nor is it an automatic next step from appeal. Neither is it meant to be resorted to as an emotional reaction to an unfavorable judgment. Secondly, in Chapel Hill versus Attorney General and another 2010 Supreme Court of Ghana report, page 827 at 850, the Tiban JSC further set out the parameters for reviews as follows, quote, "I do not consider that this case deserves any lengthy treatment. I think that it represents a classic case of a losing party seeking to re-argue its appeal under the garb of a review application. It is important that this court should set its face against such endeavor in order to protect the integrity of the review process. This court has retreated several times without number that the review jurisdiction of this court is not an appellate jurisdiction, but a special one. Accordingly, an issue of law that has been canvassed before a bench of 5 and on which the court has made a determination cannot be revisited in a review application simply because the losing party does not agree with the determination. This, unfortunately, is the substance that the current application before this court is." End of quote. The application and the review was dismissed because it was not based on any known law or rules of practice. We dismiss the instant application as being wholly without merit.
Your time is up.
May I just finish in a minute because I'm in the middle of a sentence? Is that allowed?
Okay.
As,
you may finish.
As Aqua indicated in the Koblex case, heeding the promptings of conscience, as he put it, heeding fidelity to the judicial oath, he found it appropriate to reverse a decision of the ordinary bench. May each of your lordships decide in accordance with your conscience and your judicial oath. Ultimately, and even more profoundly, it is for the chairperson of the first respondent to come forward to testify as she indicated on oath she would do. I conclude with prophetic words that were spoken centuries ago. For they sow the wind, and they shall reap the whirlwind. These are the words of the prophet Hosea, to be found in Hosea chapter 8, verse 7. He that has an ear, let him hear.
He that has a ear, let him hear. Chachu quoted Prophet Isaiah yesterday in court. Interesting times are happening in court yesterday. And people have questioned the demeanor of Chachu. People have done a whole lot of things. But the battle still maintains that when the law finally meets the law lords, when the law finally meets the law lords. A friend sent me a funny comment yesterday. I just want to go through that. The number of students that Chachu has taught, those he taught or have been his students. Yeah, I think I have it. Among the tallest justices, Julius Ansah, Justices Jones, Joche, Enim Yabwa, the Chief Justice now, Paul Bafobone, Badegbe, Amanka Yao Apo, and then Mariama Uwusu Amegache. Then we have Kwabiri, and then Iris Mary Brown. These form part of the students of Chachu Chikata. We have Right Honorable Alban Bagbin, we have Dr. Ben Kobo, we have Dua Jao, we have Freddie Blay, we have Captain Retired Honorable Dr. Kwame Efadate. And then we have the likes of Justice Amegache. We have the likes of Ajia Alima Mahama. We have Jogate, we have Gloria Kufo, we have Papa Usu Ankama, we have Lai Ajete, we have Akutu Ampao. Akutu Ampao happens to be a student of Chachikata. Tony Lita himself happens to be a student of Chachikata. Then we have Lawyer Forcing, we have Lawyer Pinstel, we have Lawyer Gusitando, we have Professor Tichiwa Meu, we have Honorable Betty Maud Idrisu, we have Commander Jema, then we have Nana Oyelita, and then we have Chichi Upuku. These are some students of Chachuchikata in notable faces. So this is what has been on. Mama's application for review to reopen his case lacks merit. That is a simplicity of what we are saying. Simple simplicity. And from the ruling, you can deduce that the court is saying that we shouldn't use review applications to be an avenue of expressing emotions as a result of a not satisfied stand from a ruling that has already been given. These are some of the few words that were highlighted by the court yesterday. We're trying to get counsel lawyer Adoatv on the line, because when you look at the number of applications, motions that the petitioner has sought, their legal tools available to the use of the petitioner that has been used, it seems that some have not gone really to his favor. We'll look at it and see how really the entire trial process really means so far as this case is concerned, and how best we can furthermore elucidate further understanding and education so far as this legal banter is concerned. So when we get lawyer John Adoatv on the line, we'll be speaking to him accordingly to see how best this information can be deduced or be given. We are going to have conversations concerning that. When we are done with the court, we'll move to other conversations and see how best probably we have all these ones to be engaged and then to be done for us. Do you have counsel on the line? Okay, so you're trying our best to reach lawyer friend, lawyer John Adoatv, who will be speaking to us over what really happened yesterday. When he gets ready, we'll come. Now let's go back to the court. Okay, it's on the line. All right. I wanted us to play the contempt video and apology, but we'll hold on with that and then maybe speak to lawyer Adoatv. Good morning, counsel. How are you doing?
I'm fine, and you, my brother?
I think I can't hear him here, so let him hold on when we are done at this. Okay, so we'll get to reach counsel on the line subsequently, and then we'll see how best that is done. But until then, Selassie, let's counsel, can you hear me? Okay, let's go back to court and play the contempt video and then apology accordingly. When we are done playing the video, we'll come back and then speak to counsel Adoatv for it. So counsel should hold on the line for me. Let's play the contempt apology video.
I am here this evening in respect of the remarks that are made to you on the 16th of February after court proceedings. those remarks were widely publicized by the media, and both mainstream and social media carried them, and they went viral. I have looked at what I said that day, and I have come to the conclusion that I went overboard, I crossed the line with respect to the remarks that I made in terms of attributing impropriety to the Supreme Court of the Republic of Ghana. And I just wanted to let you know that this morning I delivered a letter to His Lordship, the Chief Justice, offering an unqualified apology to the court. Now that letter has been filed and the Chief Justice of the Republic has referred to it, I want to take the opportunity to read the content of that letter to you, and thereafter I will apologize and retract my words. Now, the letter reads, My Lord Chief Justice, summons to so cause unqualified apology to the Supreme Court. On the 16th day of February 2021, I addressed a press call at the premises of the Supreme Court in respect of a ruling that the court had rendered on that day. I did so in my capacity as a member of the legal team of the petitioner, with instructions to brief the press on matters of concern to the petitioner after court proceedings. In carrying out my instructions on previous occasions, I had always made certain that I explained the day's proceedings to the understanding of the press corps and of fellow citizens with civility, and without seeking to attribute acts of impropriety to the Supreme Court or the respondents. On the said day, I thought I had maintained that approach to the press briefing, but on hindsight, I actually crossed the line in suggesting that the court had a predetermined agenda, among others, to rule against the petitioner. My attention was drawn to this fact immediately after the press briefing by Frank Davis, Esquire, to whom I am grateful. It was not my intention to scandalize the court or to bring it into disrepute. In the circumstances, I wish to apologize unreservedly to the court. Yours sincerely, Dr. Dominic Akuruting Ayine, signed. And for those of you, I'm sure Mr. Frank Davis is not a stranger to the press. He's standing here to my right. I remember on the 16th of February when I finished addressing the press, he walked up to me and reminded me that the phrase that I had used, that there was a predetermined agenda, had crossed the line. And that is when I started thinking about whether or not I had crossed the line. And I agree absolutely with Mr. Frank Davis and those of you who think that I crossed the line on that day. I wish to unreservedly apologize to the court, that is the Supreme Court of the Republic of Ghana, as well as the justices in particular who sat on that day. There was no intention on my part to impugn their integrity. I was just expressing a sentiment with respect to the ruling of that day. And I want to render an unqualified apology and to retract the words that I used on that day in their entirety. Unreservedly, I will not in any way want to disparage the Supreme Court of the Republic of Ghana. You can see I'm lost for words because I don't want to be, when you want to take a pegative, I was told that I should purge myself of the contempt. So you take the pegative so that you don't complicate the constipation. So I'm being very careful that the pegative I'm taking this afternoon will not complicate the constipation. And so I wish to thank the press for the opportunity to address you, because His Lordship the Chief Justice, in making the order, said I should use the same medium that are used in conveying the words that are the subject matter of the contempt proceedings. And so, thank you very much.
All sincerity of the pegative and of the constipation, unreservedly, he apologizes to the 7 justices on the ongoing election petition and retracts his words that they have a predetermined agenda. we wouldn't have had an interesting court situation for this trial if nobody has been cited for contempt. We were shocked that for quite a long time now, nobody's really been cited. Unlike Atugube's time, people have questioned that it seems these justices are they are friendly. They've been very nice. Maybe if it was in the era of Atuguba, maybe we'll have somebody going to bar for like 3 months or maybe 2 months or 1 month, like that kind of thing, so that they serve as a deterrent to them. That one day it is instant, so that you understand that there's a Zoze feeling that you are supposed to arm yourself with when you want to make certain comments. But it's all part of it. Let's go back to the line and see if we have counsel friend, lawyer Adoatv on the line. Selassie, is he on the line? Okay. We are trying to reach our lawyer friend, counsel Adoatv, who is our friend, and he's also a friend of the court. We'll also be speaking to him to give us much more clarity and education, and then what the period that we find ourselves to will be, what it stands to gain, and then it stands to be on exactly so far as this one is concerned. Okay, this one is in relation to the application as filed by it. The 9 justices in an unanimous decision on Monday, February 2022, insisted that they were still not convinced by the reasons for the demands being sought by Mahama and his legal team, and went further to throw the case out. The Chief Justice said the application was dismissed because it was not within any known law or rules of practice within any jurisprudence. The justices of the Apex Court also disagreed with arguments that the earlier ruling was a miscarriage of justice. The Apex Court also explained that the decision to testify or not resides on the Electoral Commission and not the chairperson, since the chairperson, Jim Mensah, is not a party to the case. Enin Yeboah, in the ruling, said some of the submissions from Mahama's legal team had no basis in law. Had no basis in law. Had no basis in law. Do we have counsel on the line? Counsel. Okay, I'm going to speak to counsel any moment from now when we get to him, and then we'll connect to him, and then we'll have him. So we have our very good friend, lawyer Adoatv, on the line. Good morning, counsel. How are you doing?
I'm fine, my brother. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How is everything? Okay. There's a lot of terminologies and principles that came to bear yesterday, which I would want you to probably make us understand. But before that, in the application yesterday for review of the rule, there is a dictionary that was cited, that the justices relied on it rather than sections of available law in Ghana, which it seems to be like it was by reference to that particular law dictionary. There has been a means to discourage of justice here and there. Before we come to what discourage of justice is, what dictionary is it, and to what extent is it permissible in the practice of law on both the sides of the bench and then the bar?
Okay, thank you very much. You know, the dictionary they were referring to yesterday is black dictionary.
Black?
Yes, black. It is called BLACK.
Okay. Okay.
Black dictionary. It is a law, the legal dictionary. It has almost all the legal terminologies in the explanation. And it is, you know, in law, we have enactment. And we have statutes. Statutes or enactment. We have EI, we have LI, we have EI, and we have what we call juristic writing. They are all part of the law. So the black dictionary is an integral part of the law. Whereas the biggest legal dictionary, and that has almost all the legal terms in it, and and well defined in it. So that is what the lawyer was referring to yesterday, that the definition from the Black Dictionary was used rather than the position of the law. And that is what happened yesterday.
It seems there is a bit distortion between Section 72 of the Evidence Act and what the dictionary too seems to define on whom an adverse witness is and whom should call upon it. But from the understanding yesterday, it seems it is clear that the petitioner still does not have the right to refer to that witness as an adverse witness or a hostile witness. Is it the case, or that is what the new interpretation is?
It is a case. It is a case that it is to implement Section 72 of the Evidence Act. And how to do that. In fact, you get the impression that, well, any party, especially the opposing party, is called a hostile witness. But Black Dictionary is actually talking about the fact that the hostile witness to be called mainly by the side that actually want to use him as a witness. So that is what the judgment was. But it does not mean that it is the Black Dictionary disposition that was used. To the legal position or the legal analysis is such that the thing to the design the tool that is being quoted, if you look at it and interpret it in one way, you will get the same meaning. Yes.
So meaning that the definition in the law dictionary and that of the Section 72 on whom an adverse witness is really not in opposite. It's on the same wavelength.
Yes. It is not the opposite at all.
Okay, now let's come to another element yesterday that I found very challenging on the exercise of the discretionary powers on the part of the justices, because there's a posture by the petitioner that the fact that there is an exercise of discretion, their discretion should always be in the favor of the petitioner. At what extent does the justices extend the exercise that discretionary powers of theirs? And in exercising that discretionary powers, what are the determining factors that they resort to or rely on before they can exercise that discretionary powers?
Thank you. The Constitution of Ghana enjoins everybody, whether a judge or not a judge, to exercise any discretionary powers given him judiciously. So the judges are supposed to also use their judiciously. There's no hard and fast rule about how they exercise it. And there is no rule anywhere that it must always go in favor of the petitioner or the applicant. Now, if you have the discretion to exercise between a superior and his subordinate, normally you are enjoined by the Constitution to exercise it in favor of the subordinate. That is how come we have labor laws, we have them. And that is how come we have decisions that go in favor of students when there's a student-teacher row. Decisions that go in favor of the patient when there's a patient-doctor row. So we actually don't have a hard and fast rule as to how discretionary power should be used.
Okay.
So the argument that it should go in the favor of the petitioner is not sacrosanct.
So if we don't have a sacrosanct decision on it, how or what becomes on the language? Because I think Grant E from yesterday's motion is on the issue concerning fair hearing. And then it seems the posturing of the petitioner is that the court has not been fair to his side in its exercise of discretion.
Yes, he was actually appealing to the consciences of the Supreme Court to exercise the decision powers in his favor. That was what essentially he sought to do. But you see, Ketu's language is more of British than the native Ghanaian English that some of us speak.
Okay.
So if you don't listen to it very well, you may be frustrated. You are whether he was referring to and this what a preconceived agenda of the commission. That was the angle that the judge was coming from. That was not what he was saying. He was trying to say that look, we did not come to file because we did not preconceive that the judgment will not go in our favor. That is how I would have said it. And the way you put it, it gave it a little bit ambiguity. And that's why the judge came out to clarify the matter. Okay. So the way he speaks sometimes, if you are not very attentive to him, you may misconstrue his amendment or his submission to be the other way around.
Since you've brought the Chachu character in, let me tell you what some probably the court of public opinion yesterday had the impression they gave that his posturing and demeanor sparked some level of rude in his delivery yesterday.
Yes, I don't see it as him being rude. I see him as a little bit frustrated. Yeah, he's kind of he showed some level of frustration in his submissions yesterday. Yes, because if you go before a panel and every submission you made is refused unanimously and totally, it's because even if one guy gets down your application, you can imagine how it is. And let alone 7 or 9 telling you down 0, 9, 0, 7. It's frustrating. So I saw that in the demeanor yesterday.
With this level of demeanor and what has transpired in court throughout till yesterday, the level of motions and applications that the majority of them have not gone in favor of the petitioner. Then the concern is that then the petitioner went to court and yet still has not been able to substantiate their case.
Well, that will reflect in the final judgment. I don't want to see whether he's able to substantiate or not. And I saw that they are one of the things I think we ever had this discussion before. They went to court basically on the announcement of the result, the result of the 9th of December. And they did not go with their own slips. They did not go with their own coalition slips and result and figures. They relied heavily on what the first defendant was going to churn out or submit to court, or had announced on the day of announcement of the result. And then it turned out that they did not have access to that business. And later were they also granted the opportunity to serve their interrogatories on that witness. So they couldn't get the blend from that witness to make their case solid. Yes. That is it. But to say that they've not been able to substantiate or otherwise, I can't tell until the Supreme Court did this come.
I want us to go back a bit to the Chachu character because of what somebody said yesterday, that it seems that Chachu wants to undermine the bench because he's taught some of them. Is it true?
No, I don't think like that. You see, what happened between Chachu and the judges? It's like, I think Chachu is more or less a lecturer. And he sees some of the people at the bench as engineers, almost all of them as engineers. So for that matter, his posturing was a bit, let me say, out of the way. A bit out of the way. But you see, when you're a lawyer and you go before the judge or judges and they turn down your submission, 1 and 2, what you also tend to do is to show to them that you are not a to say blockheaded. You know your stuff. So you come out more argumentative than before. So what Chachu did in court, has been doing in court, is to show to the judges that after all, you are saying I'm always wrong, fine. But I want you to know that I know that this is the law and this is the way I can the attempt I can present it. And this is what I think the law should have been, and you are going the other way around. So you're just trying to prove what actually is made up of, but not necessarily showing up.
In your appeal processes, let's understand something. It's tenable to say that, okay, I'm presenting to you a case, and then even in the cases I'm relying on, a Supreme Court sat sometime, they made a mistake, realized that they made a mistake. So in their review process, they corrected it. Was Chachu trying to go through that line to say that you made a mistake, you made an error in your ruling? So I've come out with this review application to afford you the opportunity to correct the errors and the mistakes you made.
Yes. He made reference to some cases yesterday that the Supreme Court went one way, and in review, they went the other way around. And that he mentioned that the court on its own decided to go the other way around because they had realized that they made mistakes in the Indian ruling, and that is why they went the opposite way in the review. But the counsel for the respondent, second respondent to Saturday, also referred to those same references or laws, but said that in those cases there were some evidence before the court, and those evidence in one way or the other tend not to be either having high probative values or were wrong and was presented to the court in the court and found out that they were not what they were supposed to have been. And for that matter, the court went the other way around. But in this particular case, there's nothing before the court for the court to compare and say that this was right, this was wrong.
But is that the case in the argument of the application to review case, to reopen the case, and even in the review motion, as the petitioner and his legal team failed to introduce new evidences that are compelling enough to warrant the court to open the case?
Yes, in the review case, you either have fresh evidence or you argue extensively the law and point out what the judges might have heard, and you appeal to them, convince them to now correct the error. They did not have evidence. You know, already they have said that they don't have enough evidence before this court, and for that matter, they did also not bring any fresh evidence. So what Statute worked on yesterday was mainly on the law.
If I had a ruling right yesterday, the justices sought to say that the dispositions that has been signed earlier or been brought earlier, the petition did not indicate anywhere that they will be relying on the evidences of the EC chairperson. Neither did they say that they will be calling upon her to be one of their witnesses in the earlier disposition. Is that the case?
That was the case. But you see, on this one,
Counsel, I'm not getting that. First, and come again. You said you what?
I said on this one, I disagree a little bit with the judge. Yes, because he did not indicate that you're going to rely on the evidence of the first petitioner's, the second respondent's witness. But he had taken steps to serve interrogatories on the witness. So when those interrogatory applications were denied, and the first respondent decided the witness decided not to come to the court, we were expecting that in the application for to reopen the case, that the court would have given him, I'm speaking as a lawyer here, for him. I thought on this witness, they had decided not to come to the court. So can you reopen the case for me to serve interrogatory something or ask him one or two questions so I could run up my case? But the court again denied him that opportunity too. And if you're a lawyer and you find yourself in that position, you will really be frustrated.
Now let's get it. In your language, you are saying that I filed an initial application for interrogatories or anyhow you people call it. It was not done, and then the person, the respondent, in this case, who is chief, who did a declaration upon which we are in court, has used legal means to say that I won't enter the witness box. I've closed my case. I want you to open it so that I go back and then serve interrogatories. But this one, is it I'm going to subpoena? Is it a subpoena on which is grounds for the denial of the application, or it is because the language of going back to serve interrogatories was not used in court?
Subpoena was a little bit out of order for me. I think that the application should have been reopened for him to serve the interrogatories on the chairperson of the EC. Because he had indicated earlier that she was not going to give evidence before. So going to court, asking the court the power to subpoena her was a bit far-fetched. I thought that we could have gone for the application to reopen the case, and in order for him to be able to serve the interrogatory on the by the court on its own, the court also could have done that. Once he went with the application to subpoena and then they said no, he could have said, okay, looking at the nature of your case, you will need some answers from her. So we earlier on denied you the chance to go and serve your interrogatory. But now that the is not coming, we are granting this application to reopen, not for you to go and subpoena her, but for you to go and serve on her the interrogatory. The court would have done that on its own.
Is this still an option that is available? Because now they filed their legal closing statement, or what you call it, and the court has given final ruling to be 4th of March. Between now and then, is it going to be an available option that, look, we are not going to file an application to open our case to serve interrogatories on the AC, not to subpoena her?
No, I think we have not that opportunity. We have had that issue. Yes.
This is quite unfortunate.
Yes.
But were they expecting that the justices will use, like you indicated earlier, their own intuition to the process will wind up where at the end of the day the respondents will be bringing their witness, who in this case will be the EC chairperson, to the witness box? But we have not been surprised to us. So now go and serve the interrogatories that it will be binding on the case, and they didn't do it. Is it that they were expecting that the court would have, like I said, per their own intuition, giving lead for that?
Yeah, the court has the inherent jurisdiction to do that. Those are powers the court has. You have come with this application. Yes, the application to be granted halfway. Yes, you granted it. Actually, you are taken to perform. No, but I do it this way. The court they do it all the time.
So if these things are available that the court could have done and didn't do it, then it goes in line to, one way or the other, support the claims that the petitioner is saying that they've not been given a fair hearing.
No, but you see, if you have the option to apply to serve interrogatory, and it is clear that the witness is unwilling to come to the court, yet you go before the court asking to subpoena the witness, and the court is no. You can't blame the court for that. Yes, he too must be blamed partially, because he shouldn't think that the judges will do his case for him. He must do it the way he thinks it will go well for him or for his client.
But you know that they served interrogatories. The application was quashed. There was a review which was also subsequently quashed. So automatically they felt that there's no other options again on the issues concerning interrogatories.
But to make it an alternative in the subpoena and subpoena application was not bad.
Yes. So they could still have gone back to resort to it.
Yes, making an alternative to subpoena or to serve interrogatory. So this is a different application. This is an application to reopen the case. And reopen the case means so much. You could reopen the case to call a fresh witness, to call another witness, introduce a new set of evidence, or call a case to me, or call a case to serve interrogatory. So you could have made that one an option.
Okay, so if I understand you, Then at the point we got to where the petitioner closed its case, and then the respondent says that, look, where we've gotten to the witnesses that the petitioner has called from PW to PW3, the witnesses are enough for the case to be determined, so we won't bring our witnesses. At that point, instead of filing an application to reopen case, they could have said, fine, we wanted to serve interrogatories and we were told that these questions can be asked at the point of cross-examination. And now we won't get the opportunity again for the witness to come. So we are going back again to serve interrogatories to get these answers that we wanted to get from her. Was that the option that you are calling upon?
That is the option. That's the option that I would have gone for. I would have gone for an application to reopen the case, specifically to serve interrogatory on the petitioner, even though it was denied at review.
Okay. Now, between now and 4th of March, let's understand the legality. What is available? What is expected to be done? Are we expecting a silent mode between now to 4th of March? Or there's still that room for applications, for stay of proceedings, any other legal tool available between that period and then 4th of March?
I don't think there's any other application left to make now. The only thing left to make now is the filing of the addresses. And the addresses, one side has filed 8 addresses, but the other side hasn't done it yet. So the other side will do that. They sought leave of the court to do that yesterday because the time allowed by the court had elapsed. And the court granted that opportunity. So we are looking forward to seeing them file their addresses and then quietly moving for them. You know, this one, when they are filing final addresses, the court may not allow them to make a legal case submission.
That is an oral or verbal submission.
Exactly.
No, that's fine.
So it means that we only go to court on that fateful day and listen to the judgment of the court.
Okay, but finally on it, let's understand what the terminology miscarriage of justice means. Miscarriage of justice. Is it a lay miscarriage of pregnant women that has been inculcated in the law? Let's understand.
No, miscarriage of justice just has the word miscarriage. The judicial system is to ensure or to give justice. So if justice is not given, or if justice, the delivery of justice is done in a way that smacks of injustice, then you say that it is a miscarriage of justice.
But you are a lawyer. You've observed these proceedings from day one to wherever we've gotten to. Has there been any point in the time of the delivery of this particular trial that you find out that, look, this particular act has been an act of miscarriage of justice?
No, I cannot draw that conclusion. All I can draw is that I do not agree with some of the holdings of the court, the rulings of the court. That one, I have the liberty to say that I do not agree. But to draw the conclusion that there's miscarriage, no, I wouldn't say it.
Okay, that's
because
fine.
Everything has been done according to law. Except that somebody will want to say that this one has been done not in accordance with the law. But everything that the court has done so far to this point has been in accordance with the law. And once it is in accordance with the law, we cannot say that it is a miscarriage of justice.
That's solid. This case would have made history if people have not been cited for contempt. Alas, we saw a contemnor being called to court yesterday for contempt of court. What is really the word contempt of court? Is it when you instigate the judges, you insult them, you say things, or you do things that are in opposite? Let's really understand what this contempt of court really means.
Okay, simply put, contempt is doing an act or saying a word or anything that puts the reputation of the judges or the court in disrepute. That is simply put, that is it. So if you do anything or you say anything, it's not only saying, if you do an act or say something that seeks to attack the integrity of the court or that bless the independence of the court. You see, when the judge is a friend, again, one of the judges on the panel is a friend, and there's a problem, and you use vulgar words on him or her, you are free to go. I mean, you don't have any problem with that one. But if your utterances are to the extent that they are attacking the office of the judge, then that is contempt.
Wow. So the person is my friend. I can insult the person. But the moment
your friend,
if the moment
I'm appointed a Supreme Court judge tomorrow, and I do anything against you, you can insult me anyhow you want. You can tell me anything you want to tell me.
I can tell you my mind free.
Yes. But if your utterances is to the extent that my office is attacked, you understand? You say anything that attacks my office, not a person, my office, you are in contempt of court.
Oh, okay. So you can say that a judge's head is big, his stomach is big, he has thin legs, or you can't say that.
No, you can say that, but you are not in contempt.
Oh, okay, okay. That's understandable. That is understandable. Okay, but when we want to understand, to what extent does predetermined agenda against the petitioner warrants contempt of court?
That presupposes that the judge has, or the judges have taken this mind maybe against the petitioner. And to tell the judge that you are biased or you have taken this mind against my client is in contempt of court. But the judges are supposed to be seen as neutral at all times until even after the delivery of their judgment. So to prejudge them as biased, to treat them as having a predetermined agenda, you are impugning conspiracy. You are impugning criminality. You are impugning so many things that will go against the integrity of the judge, the court, the judges. And that one affects their position. Their position as judges, not their person.
But in your preamble to this particular question, you said that the justices are to be impartial.
Yes.
What if their posturing and their demeanor in a particular case or trial suggests that they are having a predetermined or premeditative agenda? What level of comments can you pass on that particular tangent?
And that one is a matter of fact. If you have that fact, you bring it before the court. You can tell the same judge who is behaving in a manner that you find to be predetermined or prejudicial or biased. You can tell him that you want him to recuse or her to recuse himself. You write to the chief justice for him or her to be changed. And in this very example, if the contemptor has any evidence of the judges doing one or two acts that shows that or that indicates that they have a predetermined mind, you could have brought that one before the court.
But in this case, the justices in question, we have the Chief Justice there. So what if maybe the contemptor has an issue against the Chief Justice in this particular case?
It doesn't stop him from telling him.
From telling him that he should recuse himself from sitting on the panel?
Yes, you were heard, you are Chief Justice, you are heard on, you're recorded on the text, telling somebody that, for this case, I'm going to rule it this way. And you have a recording to that effect. You bring it before him as a fact. It's a matter of fact. It's not a matter of conjecture or insinuation.
Okay.
You have it as a fact and you act on it. Other than that, you keep quiet.
Interesting. Yesterday, the court told Dr. Dominic Anyini, the Deputy Attorney General former, that he should go and then purge himself. But it seems they were disappointed in him. Are they also entitled to that level of language? We are disappointed.
Yes. That one is very simple. Certain languages are used in the court that if they were used outside the court, one may feel offended. For instance, you take an application to the judge or the judge, they sit on it and they tell you that your application is scandalous, vexatious, frivolous, and unmeritorious.
What is unmeritorious? What is unmeritorious?
Okay, does not have the merit or the standard of merit for it to be upheld. Yes, but if you tell somebody in the street that your speech or whatever you're saying is unmeritorious, the person may feel offended. But in the courtroom, you see, if somebody is talking and say your speech is scandalous, that the person they feeling that you are saying he's committing a scandal or doing something that is like it is likely to be a scandal. So the person they take offense. So the person will say, so you say that we are disappointed with you. It's another mild language.
Okay. Okay. That's quite interesting. Now, when in the very issue of contempt, maybe in the process of trial, can we say that maybe the Chief Justice in this particular case said something or passed a comment against any of the members of the bar in court while the trial is ongoing? Can any of them also cite the Chief Justice for contempt?
No, you don't file the death for contempt. The judges are the state judge. Anything they do or say, if you don't agree, say you don't agree. Yes, and you cannot sue a judge for saying something about it. You can only make an appeal, or you can make a complaint or an appeal. But you cannot cite them for contempt.
Oh, okay. That's quite interesting. They tell you to go and purge yourself. What does it mean?
What it means is that you committed a wrong and go and correct that wrong. So that process of correcting the wrong is what you normally go and purge yourself of the wrong that you committed.
The court of public opinion have come with some comments that it seems these justices are too lenient, because we've seen some contempt laws in issues concerning contempt of court in the 2013 hearing. Some served jail terms and what have you. But with this one, just go and apologize. Are they lenient?
No, I think it deserves it. I mean, it deserves it. If you look at the level of contempt, that was committed by the Deputy Attorney General, if you compare it to the level of contempt that was committed by Amir and the people, listen to those words kept compared to the way that this one has used. You see that there's a very vast difference. This one, it is obvious, just a slight slip of tongue. Just a slight slip of tongue. But the other one, you can see that they were deliberate statements, very well rehearsed and well articulated statements that were made against the court in the 2013 presidential election petition hearing. But this one, you can see that if you look at it, he was actually speaking, but I think out of emotion or out of a flip of tongue, he went and made that statement. And that's a single statement. As compared to so many statements that were made by the contempt laws in the other case. So if you look at it, all the way, some of it knew that it was only going to be a matter of apology and retraction and doubt.
It seems that the word remorse came to play yesterday, that it's virtually all written over the contempt laws, posturing that he is exhibiting some level of remorse.
Yes. In a contempt trial, the most important element that should be on your face is remorse and regret. Because contempt is a freestyle criminal. Criminal act. Contempt is a freestyle criminal. So what it means is that even though it emanates from a civil act, you can be charged criminal. Contempt is basically a criminal charge. Yes. So all you need to do is, one, the contempt against the court. And that's a very popular before. That's before that in court. So then you have to show remorse and regret. Convincingly enough for them to have mercy on you. Other than that, they may decide to imprison you.
Okay. Thanks for the clarity and a lot of thought and education on this one. I think that maybe we'll be waiting till the 4th of March to have a final wrap up on this. But until then, I have to really thank you for all the education and the time you spent with us from day one till today. You've done a yeoman's job. As of this pro bono there, we can never even pay if it's not pro bono. Thanks for making it a pro bono service. We're most grateful.
Thank you, my brother.
So that is Council Lawyer Adoatv. He's been a good friend through all these trial times, and then he's been talking to us and giving us all the legal education concerning the ongoing election 2020 petition. It's been fantastic, it's been awesome, and it's been highly educative. Yes, we are going to move on to the LGBTQI. It started as LG, it came to B, it came to T, now there's Q, there's I. I understand there's M and there's N and there's P. So now when you say LGBTQI+, and the rest of the words continues. When we come back, we'll have a center focus on the educational sector in the wake of the growing LGBTQI+. We'll be right back.
Do you know that we have phenomenal influence on our various regulatory bodies? How many of these regulatory bodies do you know within the country? Are you aware you can lodge your complaints if and when you are not satisfied with a product or service? How often do you ask the relevant questions? Whom do you call when things are not rightly done? Connect with me on Regulators on Adoatv as we deliberate on the purpose of these regulatory institutions, their functions, accomplishments, and shortcomings. We ask the back-breaking questions and get the unpolished truth. Be a part of our conversations.
John, wofi ni nyom. Wow, ede ye fe, ede wabɔ adwuma. I check wofi na, oye fe wankasa from Adoatv. Oh, na say mo wofi is aba bebre nice ha keke. Why na ka kire o? Adoatv roofing sheet de enye nice keke o. Wo de bodan so eche yie, enwe na che. Na wo ne colors ahodo fe bebre. No mo ne free roofing sheet no de. Wo nya dad wa bia o. Na so de bodan so a ejire so pampe. Wo tumi so kire mo se ne ope roofing sheet no. Ni twa de sama pepepe. Mama po Adoatv mo ni de. Wo ma technical advice na estimate free or professional installers nso a won your on-site installation. Ne bo so kra da fam pa. Oh yes, quality ne bo da fam nyi. Adoatv 5 days pay na mo sa kan order na wo ye after sales service papa bi nso. Hwehwe Adoatv Watema Community 2, Meridian Road, Ebenkoko Board Warehouse, Western Region. So Adoatv Takrade Anaji, Yeni Princeland Hotel and di hwene mu. And Volta Region yawo Akachi South District Assembly kwan so ha.
Announcements on Adoatv. Contact Adoatv for your general announcements, proclamations and publications, job vacancies, etc. at a very affordable rate. Call 050-92-57754, 020-9494-258, or visit our marketing desk at Step Work premises. Adoatv, bringing good things to life.
And that's what you say. The Jackson mixture, no, and that's
ya bread malaria near would you be privy? Ah, hey, Jackson mixture near ocean one what you are. No, I'm young red. Wapas, chicken one. Jackson mixture, Jackson mixture, Jackson mixture. So, and Vanya grow. Yo, no, we know it. I want to an no, Jackson mixture. Say malaria and quadia, no, Jackson mixture. Now, bet yes, king.
They won't any more about first. About my bofrano, a bofra only if you do and no murdering. Jackson have a mister only size.
Welcome back from the break. You're still watching AM Ghana Breakfast Show here on Adoatv Television. The name is Reginald Robertson. You can call me the Morning Star. Yes, the Morning Star, you can call me. From the issues from the court now, like I introduced before we went on the break, we're going to have conversations concerning LGBTQI. Frank was asking me that what is the meaning of the Q? What's the meaning of the I? The Q is queer. It is Queer. That's how it's spelled. And then the I there is the intersex. It continues. They have M, they have P, they have S, they have T. Be also. But it is, I'll shorten it and call it LGBTQI+. Information reaching us is that the government has ordered the closure of the offices at the Tesano. As whether it is true or not, we'll find out from the few calls you are going to make. But we're going to have a centering or focus in our schools, especially the second cycle school and secondary schools. We should not close our eyes and feel as if the practice on a subtle note of LGBT is not going on in our schools. Maybe, if not at all, maybe the aspect of the lesbianism and then the G, that is gayism, is going on there. We've not gotten to the level of transgender and what other things that it should be. But how can we build a strong resilience against it in our schools? This is a conversation that we are pushing forward to see to it that in the developing conversations where people are calling for the promotion of LGBT, how do it in the manner that our schools and our students in the second cycles will still maintain the culture and then the constitutional provisions and standings on natural knowledge, sexual college, insofar as this one is concerned. We have Divine Pet on the line, who happens to be with the Africa Education and Education Advocate. Good morning, Divine. How are you doing?
Good morning, and thanks for having me. I'm very well.
Okay, fantastic. Now, from your engagement with students over the period of years, what is the level of lesbianism and gayism in our secondary school education or in our cycle in Ghana? What is the level?
All right, thank you, and thanks for having me. Let me put, first of all, straight out that on the ongoing debate on gay issues and lesbian issues in our country, we also take joint position that we have norms as a society, we have culture as a society, and that must be preserved. Advocates for LG, they always say that they are celebrating diversity, but they forgot that. And particularly also there's something about what we call cultural diversity. And nations also have their cultural diversity. We in Ghana will not force anybody in Australia or US or any other European country that is practicing homosexuality. We will not, because we appreciate that they have accepted it as their norms. But when it comes to our jurisdiction and they are failing to respect what we also stand for, that is what the issue is about. To the extent of trying to push it down our truth, that we should also swallow what we are doing in the name of human rights, in the name of diversity. It is unacceptable. They should also respect that what is unique about us as a country is what we hold and cherish as our values and our norms. And this is what distinguishes nations from one another. And Ghana as a sovereign state, we should not see country promoting what we have frowned on. And therefore, we believe that at this point in time, where there is again this debate about gays or homosexuality in Ghana is surfacing again, then we need to have a state position well spoken about from the president so that it will set a clear signal to the international community on what our position is. But this wishy-washy position, as though we are the media, it isn't helping approaches. And it is the same thing that is translated into our second cycle institutions. These issues about gay or lesbianism, it hasn't started from anywhere. Most people who practice this in our society were introduced to it in secondary school. The practice is ongoing in our secondary school, and it appears as though we are not having a conversation about it now, and it is gradually festering. And it is these people that graduate from the secondary school, they go to the university, and then they get to society, and then they are meeting our society with this ideology. So indeed, if we were to tackle this idea, then we need to go back to the basic level and talk about how best we can help our students to appreciate issues about our culture, appreciate issues about diversity, appreciate issues about their sexuality, whereby we know that when we have a frank conversation, a conversation that is open in schools, and students begin to have an idea about their sexuality, which of course should be appropriate one, should be age appropriate, should be culturally sensitive. When we have these conversations in school, and students know that our society frowns on something, there's something called homosexuality, there's something called gayism, there's something called lesbianism, and it is going on in school, but our society frowns on it. The students will begin to appreciate the fact that we have been silent about this conversation in schools, which is not helping. And then the children, through their reading of materials, then they are engaging with their colleagues, are being exposed to it, and the schools are not talking about these issues at all. So the case is high in our schools. We just do a simple Google test and look at issues of homosexuality in secondary schools, and you see several news about it. So we believe that we are at a point whereby we are silent about it and now, and then the practice is so much getting high in our secondary school, and then these people get to our society finally.
Divine, I am being tempted to ask the level of advocacy. That's probably the institution you represent and other institutions, because you've given us a genuine fact. That is, we can't run away from. This is something we are staying with. The practice has been real. Most of them dominate from second cycle institutions, enter tertiary, and then enter mainstream society, and then it keeps growing and developing. I believe that the issues concerning diversity and sexual orientation courses by now should have been introduced in our curriculum, where the students will have the picture of what these things are being done, rather than relying on the internet to be fed with some level of information that really does not connote in our cultural context or religious context in Ghana. What's the level of advocacy to streamline the harm that has already been created?
Yeah, you know, you were in this country where an issue of comprehensive sexuality education came up, and it was outrightly dismissed. People who raised concern about it, they may of course have to consider maybe probably some of the ideas or discussions that we have contained in the curriculum. But personally, I think outrightly dismissing comprehensive sexuality education in our school is not the best. We can have a conversation and see that what do we have to put in the content of this curriculum? What should be the age and appropriate level that some of the topics should be treated? All this could be talked about, and then we will have a comprehensive sexuality curriculum that is sensitive to our culture, that is also appropriate for the child age. Mentioning homosexuality or gay or lesbianism in the curriculum doesn't mean you are promoting it.
Exactly.
You are going to talk about it, that this is some of the things that are going on in other jurisdictions. But again, the case is that we as a country, we frown on it. So you tell the children that these are also issues that are emerging in the contemporary world. But as a country, we hold on to a value. We do not promote the same-sex relationship. So, but when we want to be silent about this in our schools, that look, when we mention it, therefore we are exposing to our children to it, then we are acting like the ostrich, putting our heads in the sand, and then many parts of our body is exposed. So we need to have a talk about it. It should be appropriate. The curriculum should be appropriate for education in our schools. It's very, very important. Otherwise, when we continue on this trajectory, that there's nothing for us to have a conversation, want to lead you to the faith-based organization, they may not be able to solve this.
But you think that the opportunity has come again for us to go and revisit the comprehensive sexual education, if that is the word, so that we will, like you just made mention of, look at the age range, the age limit. That now that the conversation has popped up again concerning LGBTQI, this is the time to revise that particular idea of a total closure of that comprehensive sexuality education to inculcate it into the curriculum.
This is again, we are at the point again that we have to embrace opportunity. The word comprehensive, that doesn't mean that your child is being introduced to. Now, it is about talking about all the angles of these issues about gender. But at the end of the day, it teaches the child the right thing about what your society goes on to. And at the same time, undoing the child's mind about this aspect of homosexuality. So I believe in our secondary school, we need to engage our efforts. We can introduce this curriculum and teach it appropriately. Not only in the secondary school, at the basic school level, so we need to introduce it and think efforts. We can talk about it appropriately. It should be age appropriate. The content should match the level of the child. And what should be talked about, teachers should be well trained and educated about it. Should it be seen as a conduit for promoting any act? Not at all. So again, we could have a conversation about how we have education about it in our school. But our schools will only solve microscopic of the problem. Find that the society will also have a role to play, more especially the state itself. The state will need to have a clear stance on this issue of homosexuality. But it appears we are the middle ground. And if we do not see actions from the state, although our provision of the law says that we abhor it, we do not like it, but we are seeing instances of those being practiced, but we do not see any criminal act against people or those people, or we do not see those who may harm our affairs making a clear pronouncement that we do not stand for it. If this diplomatic community in our country are promoting this act, and do not see our president, our leaders talking and stating our position, then it is sending signal to the children, those in our schools, that look, we are gradually accepting this aspect, and therefore they will also be practicing it only to be engaged. But when the position of the state is so clear, it sends message to these children that look, the state and the society indeed oppose this, and therefore they will not be well encouraged to engage in the practice.
Divine, on the part of the state, I have heard the president on one of the religious bodies synod conferences that he said that he does not intend to change the laws governing same-sex marriage in Ghana and would never even change it.
I appreciate that, but what I am saying that it should go beyond rhetoric. That we do not. But look at this difficult about opening the gay community in our country. And I believe this is the point for us to again send clear message to those promoting the European Union who will be so much emboldened on somebody's country and a law prohibiting gayism and homosexuality all out in this country. But you are able to go around funding community space for these people. I think we should know that the president has indeed had an engagement with these people to make it clear that we do where we stand on this issue. But when you say it is in our law, we do not do it, but we do not see action to people that are promoting this in our community. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. Now the people are all over and they are increasing in day in, day out. Their activities are being emboldened because we do not see people in authority that are making a clear stance against it. But back to our schools, I think there are many conversations about how we can deal with this situation in our schools. So I believe that the school will have to regularly do sample research, sample some of the students and engage them about how pervasive the issue is in their schools. That if they add and so maybe to come to their notice, it may not come. But you could do this random research in your school and see that, okay, at the confidence level, some of the students will
you think that it will help in that sampling method, because you know the culture of Ghana secondary school? You are a chuka.
No, what I mean, maybe the guardians and country coordinator in our schools, the secondary school, who design a questionnaire that to find out how pervasive the issues. And when you are kind of research, you don't ask the people to put their names or their identity on the questionnaire. No. So you is there to find out how pervasive the issue. How is it being practiced? How are people being introduced in your school? How you distribute these questionnaires amongst them. When they feel it, they put in their experience. They do not put their name on the paper. So they haven't revealed their identity. So when you do that, and you know that, look, X percentage of homosexuality is going on in my school, then to be able to take remedial action. This approach also helps you identify how these are being introduced in your school. We know that this idea of two mother, two father idea are some of the way that these things are promoted. We know that the seniors putting pressures on the juniors are some of the ways these are promoted. So what are the ways of promoting? So when you are able to carry out this sample research in your school and identify the rate at which it is in your school and how they are being introduced in school, and the questionnaire will find out, do they want to have help to come out of this? All of those, and what help do they want to come out of this? All of this will give you the idea to the graduates and candidates of that these are two authorities who have an idea about how they will solve the issues in their jurisdiction. We also believe that when we are able to help our parents to be part of the conversation at home, is to talk about this issue at home, they should be more concerned about their children in school. Regularly find out what is going in school. You find out your school mother, your school father, or what is the relationship between the two of you, especially if it's the same school. Your parents should be much involved. They should study their children. If there's a slight change about their children, they should be concerned and okay, try to find out what is happening to them and draw them close so that if there's somebody making advance, same-sex advance of them, they could be so confident and talk to their parents about it. These issues could help us in a way on how to deal with this in our school, because I believe it is a breeding ground, it is a house that these people finally migrate into our society.
Divine, I'm very grateful for this input you've made. But let me touch on the level of confidence that you made mention, so that they would have that confidence in their parents to relate on these matters. Virtually, when you go to virtually every secondary school in Ghana and look at their school rules and regulations, they frown on homosexuality and lesbianism in the schools. And sometimes we have, like you made mention, school fathers, we have some seniors who instill, by level of force, push these students or these young ones when they come to Form 1 into this particular act here and what have you. In the schools, some teachers or some institutions do not seem to handle the situation proper, and the matter becomes escalated. How best can we handle real-time complaints? How do we authenticate it? How do we deal with people? Do we do it on the public domain to serve as a deterrent, or we do it clandestinely? So we'll be able to be receiving out these ones gradually, so that the Form 1s that will have come in will have that confidence to open up one to teachers and then to the counseling unit when some of these force is being exerted on them to enter into this practice.
Okay, thank you. Indeed, for me, I believe that some of the ways that teachers approach some of these issues in our schools isn't the best. They tend to go up towards some of the students, and it will be insulting. How could you be doing it? You want to know, you don't like it, all of this. They don't have the conversation. The environment, the school environment should be conducive that, look, if you have that problem, the school is open to help you and find a solution out. That should be the approach. It is not being antagonistic that we are ready to dismiss you, we are ready to expose you. It isn't a case that somebody that is caught in that an ad is taken to the whole school assembly, and the situation talk about we call this person in the ad, and then we are digital. No, those should not be the approach, because when you do it, those that are hidden in the school and are practicing it secretly, you may not be able to. But when you identify a case, that should be even a starting point to identify more of other victims in the school, depending on your approach. When you get somebody and you bring the person close, you get the talk to the person and how do you you want to go by this way. So if you get the person and then you say, okay, who else? If there is no more approach in the research, whereby the person identifies that person. If the person says, look, indeed, you are ready to help me, the person will be ready to identify other people that are involved in the act. And once you get those people, you keep it just in the community of those people. It shouldn't be something that should be exposed to the entire school. But you, one by one, identify victims in your school and then just approach them as individual or as a community of such people and be having a remedial intervention or approaches that will help and do their orientation that they are gradually being oriented to. And when it will be necessary to bring in their parents come into the conversation. So I believe the teachers or the guardians and counseling coordinators who are professionals about it, know how best to go about it. They should talk more to their colleagues teachers in secondary school who get to know the situation and then escalate it. They should also continue to educate their colleagues teachers about it. No, these issues, we do not try to go to a path of escalating among the public, the student population, whereby those victims will be victimized or they will be harassed. No, we do not get to that extent. So teachers will need the professionality on how to handle this. And we need to strengthen the guidance and counseling in our schools. Guidance and counseling coordinators taking on other subjects they are teaching. And practically they don't have time for their primary role in their schools. I think we have to just separate them from teaching and let them concentrate on what they are trained to do and resource their offices so that they focus on helping these students.
Interesting enough. But finally, somebody will want to know that the way in the larger society we have this. No, before that, on perception, it is very clear that when you probably enter maybe a single-sex school and you find a boy that is acting girlish, there's this connotation that is homosexual. When you enter a single-sex girls' school and you find a lady that is acting masculine as a result of hormones, which science has proven, they begin to have the connotation on them. Is there a way we can handle this perception, or it should be an outright? That the fact that a guy is acting girlish, the person is homosexual. The fact that a girl people is acting masculine means the person is lesbian. This perception, one way or the other, affects the way we even handle these situations in our schools. Can we have a way or a manner in which we can handle such cases?
Okay. Like I said earlier, that this boils down to issues of educating the children about sexuality. If we have a curriculum that talks about it, the children begin to learn about it at that level. So when they see their colleagues behaving that way, there will not be outright acceptance that this person is leaning towards same-sex issue. No. But when we don't have even a curriculum that talks about some of these, that all the students get to understand of these issues in their school or among their colleagues. Once this notion is there, which of course will be wrong perception, they carry it that way. But a talk about it in school, a topic about it, so that today we know we have comprehensive sexuality class. And the topic is about it. Some of these things are just misconceptions that you see somebody behaving this way, and therefore you are thinking that a person is acting or linking to a same-sex approach. No. Well, the topic as we are approaching, as we're talking about, that let's again have a conversation on how best we can introduce the curriculum. But if I'm talking about curriculum, I want to emphasize that we are talking about a curriculum that is culturally sensitive, a curriculum that is age appropriate for the children. When they will do that and they take it gradually, by the time they get to secondary school, I believe we would have built a lot of values in them, and society also added to it with their parents' support, and then the state also having a strong stance on it, we will be able to have a headway.
Finally, you've made mention of making our guidance and counseling units very vibrant and solid in the front of having the conversations on how to handle these things. Do we think that to extend we should have another group of training given to teachers in second cycle institutions and authorities on how best the conversation can be done as we wait for the curriculum to be officially introduced, and also as we look forward for government to or the states to have a clear conversations and clear cut on the lines concerning LGBTQI.
All right, thank you. The conversation about how to introduce a curriculum will not necessarily come from the teachers, or will have to come from the curriculum, those are in charge of curriculum, that's NACA. They will have to initiate a conversation, but first of all, having stakeholder engagement, of which parents and society is so much keen and interested in this topic. So they will need to start having a discussion with these people. And even the faith-based organization, they will need to start to have a conversation with these people, and then you can now get to a point and a stage of having input from the teacher unions or the teachers. When that is done, it will help the approach, because when you want the teachers to be the one to have the orientation and then helping their students in school, the teachers may eventually turn out, the parents may eventually turn out on their teachers that they are introduced something in their school that they do not understand. So the conversation has to start with the parents, the engagement has to start with them. This is what we are intending to do, but these are the provisions in the curriculum, these are the topics we intend treating, and these are the age levels that this topic will be treated. And when we talk about lesbianism and then homosexuality, if you see the mention of it in the curriculum, what we just, if you want to talk about that, the child must be aware of it, that this idea of globalization, these ideas are being pushed down across the length and of breadth of the globe. But we still want to maintain our values. So we want the children are aware about this sort of thing, but they are able to be taught the right thing, they can make the right decision. But if you want the curriculum to be silent on issues of homosexuality, it will not help. The children will eventually find out, and by the time they will find out, it will be found out from the wrong people, and they may be indulging it. So the conversation, we can have an issue of guardians and counselors coordinators in our school, training their colleagues, teachers in the school about how they could be helping instances in the school. If they record instances in their school, how could they approach it so that it doesn't escalate, and then the people will be stigmatized or will be victimized. We could have that conversation at the school level where the guardians and counseling community train their colleagues, teachers about how to approach that instances in their school.
Divine, I'm most grateful for the conversation this morning, and thanks for the enlightenment as well. It is our hope that we'll have a very stringent manner in handling this to see to it that we don't further expose a second cycle institution student to the praise of LGBT, like as already it's been exposed to.
All right, thanks for having me.
That's Divine, who happens to be with the African Center and for Education Advocates as well. Big ups to Divine for that particular conversation. We're trying our best to reach other educationists too on what the further thing can be done to make the situation better. Let's see how these conversations are going to run within it. You're still watching AM Ghana here, and then we are talking about issues concerning LGBT in our second cycle institutions. If time affords us to probably take your thoughts and views on it to see how it is running, go on the quick 10. When I come back, I read your Facebook messages and contributions to the show on AM Ghana. I'll be right back.
Supa na wanya pomuden se wo banu nsu a hwe hu ni se eye mega purified mineral water eye nsu a yeto ni baby pa asaso ni so se kroje se wonya mega purified mineral water bogu ubu a wo see you manum nsupa mega mineral water de edanso esan say the modern technology so na aye ede na nkabia ni atri mega purified mineral water bacteria na mhen wa bewrem eye very hygienic obia di wadanse mega mineral water neatly packaged for 500 ml bottles. Na wani boswa na ukon donsio wobenya mega purified mineral water to bebia to phone code dodowa amount 40 per junction and now for 050-7055-409 and now 055-392-1088 mega purified mineral water akono.
Ago, good people of Ghana. Here are some safety measures on prevention of coronavirus. 1. Cover your mouth with tissue when you cough or sneeze. Dispose of tissue into a bin immediately you cough into it and wash your hands with soap and running water. Avoid shaking hands and use sanitizers as often as you can. Signs and symptoms of coronavirus include fever, cough, sneezing, and difficulty in breathing. Should you experience any of these, or for more inquiries, please contact 0558 439 868. That's 0558 439 868, or call 0509 497 700. That's 0509 497 700.
Remember to always wash your hands with soap and running water.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Service, and partners.
Announcements on Adoatv. Contact Adoatv for your general announcements, proclamations and publications, job vacancies, etc. at a very affordable rate. Call 05092 57754, 020-9494-258, or visit our marketing desk at Step Work Promises. Adoatv, bringing good things to life.
Do you know that we have phenomenal influence on our various regulatory bodies? How many of these regulatory bodies do you know within the country? Are you aware you can lodge your complaints if and when you are not satisfied with a product or service? How often do you ask the relevant questions? Whom do you call when things are not rightly done? Connect with me on Regulators on Adoatv as we deliberate on the purpose of these regulatory institutions, their functions, accomplishments, and shortcomings. We ask the back-breaking questions and get the unpolished truth. Be a part of our conversations.
John, what's in you? Wow, Eddie, what boy Juma. I check a roofing now. Oh, you fell one casa from Asatek. Oh, na same roofing is a baby bray, nice keke. Why the catch you? Asatek roofing sheet today, and your nice keke with the board dance were a chey and renache. They want to call us a hood of a fair be bray. No one free roofing sheet no dear. Who hear that will be out? Now, so the board dance were a hero supampe. What means which Roman send your open roofing sheet? You try the summer pepe. Mama poor Asatek when you're there. One of my technical advice na estimate free or professional installers and so on your on-site installation. Ni boss crowd dafumpa. Oh yes, quality ni boda feminine. Asatek 5 days pay na wasa kan order. Na a year after sales service proper binso. Hwehwe Asatek Watema Community 2, Meridian Road, Ebenkoko Board Warehouse, Western Region. So Asatek Watakrade Anaji, Yeni Princeland Hotel and the Shinimu, and a Volta Region Yawo Akachi South District Assembly Kwainusuwa.
Malaria near Woody Baby. Ah, hey, Jackson mix and near ocean one what you are. No, I'm young red. Wapas, chicken one. Jackson Mr. Straw and Fania grow. I want to Fania grow.
Malaria and Quadia, no me Jackson mixer. Now, bet yes, King Kane.
They won't any more about a fur food, about my flower floor. About flower when you feel you and the murdering. Jackson have a Mr. Only size.
Ago, good people of Ghana. Here are some safety measures on prevention of coronavirus. 1. Cover your mouth with tissue when you cough or sneeze. Dispose of tissue into a bin immediately you cough into it and wash your hands with soap and running water. Avoid shaking hands and use sanitizers as often as you can. Signs and symptoms of coronavirus include fever, cough, sneezing, and difficulty in breathing. Should you experience any of these, or for more inquiries, please contact 0558 439 868. That's 0558 439 868, or call 0509 497 700. That's 0509 497 700.
Remember to always wash your hands with soap and running water.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Service, and partners.
Announcements on Adoatv. Contact Adoatv for your general announcements, proclamations and publications, job vacancies, etc. at a very affordable rate. Call 05092 57754, 020-9494-258, or visit our marketing desk as the work promises. Adoatv, bringing good things to life.
Do you know that we have phenomenal influence on our various regulatory bodies? How many of these regulatory bodies do you know within the country? Are you aware you can lodge your complaints if and when you are not satisfied with a product or service? How often do you ask the relevant questions? Whom do you call when things are not rightly done? Connect with me on Regulators on Adoatv as we deliberate on the purpose of these regulatory institutions, their functions, accomplishments, and shortcomings. We ask the back-breaking questions and get the unpolished truth. Be a part of our conversations.
John, what's in you? Wow, Eddie, what boy, Juma. I check a roofing now. Oh, you fell one casa from Asatek. Oh, now Simon, roofing is a baby bray, nice. Why the catch you? Asatek roofing sheet today, and your nice keke with the bodan swa a chee and renache. They want to call us a hood of a fair the bray. No one free roofing sheet, no dear. Who hear that will be out? Now, so the bodan swa a hero supampe. What means which Roman send your open roofing sheet? We try the summer of pepe. Mama po Asatek money there. One of my technical advice na estimate free. Our professional installers and so I want your on-site installation. Ne boss crowd dafum pa. Oh yes, quality and nebo dafemine. Asatek 5 days pay na unsa can order. Na a year after sales service proper bin so. Hwehwe Asatek Watema Community 2, Meridian Road, Ebenkoko Board Warehouse, Western Region. So Asatek Watakrade Anaji, Yeni Princeland Hotel and edition mu. And a Volta Region yawo Akachi South District Assembly kwano so ha.
Super na wanya pomuden se wo banum nso a hwe hu se eye mega purified mineral water eye nso a yetu ne baby pa asaso ne so se kroje se wonya mega purified mineral water bogu ubu a wo see you manum super mega mineral water de edanso esan say the modern technology so na aye ede na nkabia ne atri mega purified mineral water bacteria na mhen wa bewram eye very hygienic obia di wadanse mega mineral water neatly packaged with 500 ml bottles mu na wani bosua na okon donsio wo benya mega purified mineral water to bebia to phone call dodo wa amount froti pa junction and now for 05070554009 and now 055392108 mega purified mineral water akona kono.
the break, you're still watching AM Ghana Breakfast Show here on Adoatv Television. The name is Reginald Robertson, your morning star. We're streaming live on Facebook at Adoatv Television Ghana and also on YouTube at Adoatv_GH. Let me see if I can have a few of your thoughts and commentary on Facebook whilst we are having it down on it. We are still going to have conversations on how to build a strong resilience on this matter of LGBT in our schools. And they'll be going to the line to speak to a friend of ours, Mr. Bodi William, who happens to be the executive president for the Africa, Educate Africa Institute. We'll be having a conversation with him. If he comes on the line, we'll speak to him subsequently. So let's go to the line and speak to Mr. Bodi William, who is the president of Educate Africa Institute, EAI. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Mr. William. The conversation on the raging effect of LGBT on our schools has come to bear, especially in the second cycle. I spoke to a resource person earlier who was advocating a need to revamp a curriculum that would absorb some of the worries and concerns of sexuality and sexual orientation in our schools so that the children will not get to know about this in odd mediums and they will be practicing it. Do you share in this light?
Okay. Good morning to you this morning. On my side, I think he is falling on the lighter note. You see, for us to delve into it very well, it has to do with legislative issues. As we speak, in our school, what you know about discipline has fallen. Our teachers are not able to even control the students nowadays because government has even cautioned them not to train them. Isn't it? So this tend to have a lot of factors on which it lacks. See, we can take our kids through sexuality education. Sometimes ago, we even realized that it was captured in the new curriculum textbook. And Ghanaians advocated against it massively. And the minister dealt with it. I don't see that we should give massive education or delve into it deeply and educate our kids about sexuality something. No. This LGBT something has to do with African culture. We should bring it and check whether it corresponds to our culture as Africans, precisely Ghanaians. Something that has not been captured in our culture must not be even discussed on big platforms like this. But it has become necessary for us to discuss because if care is not taken, it will be captured and accepted by force. Because Ghana is a peripheral country. And if you fall under a category as a peripheral country, you just accept anything from the Western world because you always go to them and beg for money. So when they are bringing something in your country, they will surely attack something of which you will be interested in what is attacked, but not the policy that they are bringing. Let's ask ourselves, who gave them the land? As we are fighting, we should go and close the office and whatever. It will not help our case and whatever. Read out of what kind of character are we portraying? And who gave them the land? Who gave them the access to enter the country and even get a land and build their office? Now, this is the issue. So, bringing the student matters on board. Now, we can take them through the education for them to know every corner of the aspect. And let's ask ourselves, our children are now actively involved in shisha, alcoholic, drug, and what have you. Who taught them about that? Nobody taught them about that. We think we are too brilliant. We think we know a lot, and we are in 21st century. So anything that counts, we need to capture. So, my brother, the root of all what we are talking about is discipline. When we go to school, there's nothing like discipline. So we can go and re-even institute the sexuality education and even do it in a elective part of it. But it will not yield or help us to prevent the LGBT arrival in the country.
Then what can we do? What can we do to prevent? What level of disciplinary sanctions are you suggesting to? Because you are aware that the standards of discipline is falling in our schools. How can we rekindle discipline? One. Secondly, how can we prevent the inculcation of the pride in the school?
We have 4 factors. We have biological factors, environmental, social, and psychological. So in this case, we can decide to fight and counsel our students about this LGBT to let them know the consequences. Having done that, so society has a role to play. So society has a big responsibility to take up in this matter. Have we asked ourselves, what is the role of our opinion leaders, our chiefs, our DC, our assemblymen and women? What is their role now? Are they pursuing and also propagating national affairs or political affairs? So now, society has failed totally. There's nothing like discipline and respect in our societies nowadays. Meanwhile, society has a role to play in this case. When you get to the environmental factor, what do we see during weekends? When you go to the pub and you're able to participate or be part of those who are taking new drinks and shisha, when you be. Have you said it? Biological factor, that is the parental responsibility. What is the state of parental responsibility in the country nowadays? It has fallen totally. It is negative 0% for parental responsibility in the country. So parents are not able to control their kids because most of them are irresponsible. Most of them become parents through teenage pregnancy. So when the child is a lady or a girl, at the age of 12, 13, 14 years, she has to go in for a boyfriend. And it will not be 1, 2, or 3. So you start from there. Have you seen it? So all these factors must be activated and help to fight it. But when one is broken, bro, the 3 cannot act. So our teachers who are counselors in our various schools can decide and also start now fighting by counseling our kids about this LGBT issue. Sexual education has been there for long. We have been teaching our children. But what do we see? What is the rate of teenage pregnancy in the country? It tells that there is something that we need to do and we are not doing. Somewhere last year, our Minister of Education implemented a policy which prevented teachers not to cane our kids in school. And now teachers are no longer control kids and they do whatever they want. If you're a teacher, will be you touch a child and the child reports to you, you are doing. So this is the root. So
Mr. Bodhi, can we say that caning, if we are stressing on it, will be the best alternative in one, maintaining discipline in school, in seeing to it that students don't become defiant, in seeing to it that students don't engage in immoral activities or activities that society fronts upon, like issues concerning homosexuality and lesbianism?
This caning matter, we need to have ample time and discuss it very well because a lot of people are not getting it. You see, with the caning issue, that is the only source of instilling discipline in our case. Brother, let's go back somewhere in 1990s up to 2000. how was the condition on our environment when you see a child and an adult who were seeing differences. But now you can no longer differentiate a child and an adult because a child decides to do whatever he or she wants. An adult has no say because you're near me. We are in the 21st century. When we were in school, we were kids. And most of the time, teachers do come out with the cane, but they will not cane you. But because of the teacher is holding the cane, whatever she or he is saying or telling you, you will do exactly. Even in most cases, when you do something in the house, your parents or your mother can even tell you, I'll go and inform your teacher, and you quickly act in the house. So why is that the fear is no more there? It is not fear. It is discipline that they were instilling in us, but we didn't understand and didn't know how to go about it. The approach was wrong.
Okay, Mr. Bodi, I want to tap into your experience more and the time you were in school, so that I will probably be able to understand your point well. Am I getting the impression that in your days in secondary school, you had minimum cases being recorded so far as LGBTQI is concerned because there was visible teachers with canes and then they were disciplining people when they go wrong? Is that the case?
When you talk of discipline, it's not all about caning. But the caning, we see, before a teacher will go to classroom, sometimes you enter classroom with chalk, but you will not write on the board. How do you get it? So I will call you. But you see that I am holding a case. So when I tell you by 7 o'clock you have to be in school, you will be in school. Because the other time you saw me caning people. And when you just hear the words, when I just give, have you seen it? We must not forget where we find ourselves. We are in Africa and we are African. We must not pretend and act as if we are white. We will never be like them and we will never be like us. So we must not institute their culture. We cannot institute our culture in their countries. Can we institute polygamy in the US? And even add it to their curriculum? But we are here doing it because they add money. Simply because of poor leadership in this continent, we fall under a referral country where even we want to construct school buildings, common 6-unit classroom block, we need to go in for loan from the Western world. So when they are making something, we can't, and we are even importing education system. So this issue we are talking about, the foundation of discipline is broken in our society, in our schools, our offices, and everywhere. So now they are gotten, it is a good ground for them. Today I am seeing and hearing attitude lawyers protecting this LGBTQ something, all in the name of human rights. So, fellow Africans, fellow Ghanaians, when are we going to think about human responsibility? Are we always going to consider human rights and accept unfettered values in our continent, in our country? No. On the lighter note and on the deeper side of it, when we are talking, the first thing we need to think of is African values. When you think of African values, you will reflect on our culture. So, does LGBT in conformity with our culture? No. Is it a value of Africa? No. So why are we worrying ourselves as Africans?
Okay.
What is the importance of this?
Thank you for touching on the African norms and values, which I believe that social studies by now should be doing that job of the norms of the African society. You also called for legislation earlier. How do we marry these African norms that are visible for us and then legislations that would frown strictly on these ones to see to it that we mold our schools in a way that they grow, students grow to know that issues concerning homosexuality and lesbianism are there and in existence, but yes, though, as an African society, we frown upon it, and our laws too do not permit that.
Yeah, we don't have any legal ground to fight this LGBT. There's no law. So it is somewhere 2013. Ghana Bar started advocating for anti-lesbianism law. But it seems it has not been successful even as we speak. And last 3 days or so, Kojo Okonkwo, Minister of Information, even cited something about it. And we need to accept it and also make it a law so that good citizens who are willing to advocate against such things will be eligible to do that. You know, something of this sort, though LGBT is not accepted, and those people bringing it or spearheading, we cannot go physically and attack them. When you do that, really, it's against human rights law. But the issue is that this LGBT issue, bro, fellow Ghanaians, we must not wait for any law to be activated before we can fight against it. See, I am much focused on our culture. We accept polygamy, right? But we cannot extend it to US. So let's do the same comparison. We don't accept lesbianism, bisexual, transgender, and whatever in Africa or Ghana here. So Ghana, our culture frowns at this. So we must not accept it. Very simple. Do you know some lawyers that we may depend on them tomorrow to fight against this are even saying that they will accept it because of human rights grounds? Let me make this reference. Oyelita, in 2013, it was published on 30th January. The time was 7:10 p.m. And it says, gays have rights and I will protect them. This is the comment. That was 2013. Now, 2021, Tuesday, 23rd February, the news of saying, this is his comment. It is high time Ghana recognized the rights. And on the deeper side of it, he said, as a Muslim, he doesn't believe in that. But as a lawyer, considering the grounds of human rights, you accept it. Have you seen where human rights is taking us? Have you seen it?
Yeah.
We are interested in human rights and we are forgetting human responsibilities. Did you know something?
No.
Intrinsically, when I get opportunity to speak on such big platform, I wish I am discussing about how to create jobs and reduce unemployment in Ghana. Whenever I get this opportunity, I wish I am discussing how to reinstitute our ancient education system. That is our backbone. And that is the only way to restore African values for total liberation. But come to talk about this LGBT issue, honestly, I am really disappointed in some people that we entrusted our hope. And it is good we talk about it. As good citizens, we cannot sit on the fence for such things to happen in the country. So I really appreciate Adoatv for bringing this matter on board. And we need to keep talking about it and project solutions. And after the projection of solutions, we need to be acting, because action is like that words. When action speaks, that's a solution. But when you speak without action, you are just dreaming.
But finally, let me ask this. In the interim, as we are hoping that things will get better and there's going to be very clear conversations, clear actions from powerful people on our stance as a nation on this, and waiting for a proper law that is frowning upon LGBT in our schools. What can we advise the practices should be right now to see to it that we curb the spread or the escalation of LGBT in the wake of these times that the students are available to phones, they can read and watch videos and listen to stuff that might go in a long way to affect the development and the molding of we shunning away from these practices in the schools?
This is the solution. What we are talking about, we are serving the country. Yes, that the reason why we are trying this money is that when this is accepted, we are going to practice it like the way we go to beaches and pools in the country. And it's alarming. When you go to boys' schools, homosexual is happening.
Exactly.
When you go to girls' schools, lesbianism is happening. This that is not well known and they don't show it. They do it in camera. The whole issue is all about the factors I mentioned earlier. And it's a role play. When I play my part, this morning you called me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it is my responsibility to do research and sit. So we are playing our role. It is the role of the viewers to also view and take note of it. So let's go back. Biological factor, we need to deal with it. Environmental factor, we need to deal with it. At first, any adult can shout on and even direct and correct a child, but now we can't do because social factor, it is a key factor which we cannot do this thing without it. Because the child will go to church on Sunday and meet Sunday teacher and the school teacher. Thereafter, the pastor will also preach. When he goes from church and coming home, he or she will meet some adults on the street. So society has a big role to play. Before we learn to the school, that is the psychological factor. This is the role teachers are going to play. But let's get into it and ask ourselves and see the responsibility of the teachers and the responsibility of students. And now, let's weigh the two. Is there any respect between the teacher and the student? Is there any discipline between the teacher and the student? And how come students are not allowed to go to boarding house with mobile phones, but yet we see them recording videos and even insulting our leaders? Have you seen it?
I get it.
Now, teachers cannot control students anymore. So, I can give you 20 pages, but it is up to the teacher to implement in the school, right? Now, if the learner is not ready to submit himself to the teacher, there wouldn't be anything teacher and learning. Yeah, so I think we need to go back, reinstitute some punitive measures to bring back the discipline that we were instilling in our kids. By so doing, whatever we will teach and direct them, I think they will submit themselves and take it and practice.
Okay.
If not, we will keep talking and chanting and nothing will happen.
We just hope that this our talking and chanting will not be in vain. Mr. Bodie, I'm most grateful for your time this morning, sir.
I am also grateful for the opportunity.
So that is Mr. Bodie William, who happens to be the executive president of the Educate Advocate Institute. That is for Africa. So the Africa Educate Institute, that is what they do. They do a lot of advocation in Africa. Let's go to Facebook and then read this one. It was Abdul Basit Songopania inside Kumasi saying that LGBT has no room in Ghana. We as Ghanaians, as Muslims, as Christians, our doctrines are against this ugly act. Let us be in peace and do well to refrain from LGBTQI. That is it. I've made a little observation in Ghana from like somewhere the Christmas side until now. People are not even aware of the colors that represent LGBT pride. They don't know. I've seen people use iPhone cases, especially. I'm yet to see that for Android. iPhone cases. I've seen people wear clothes. I've seen people wear shirts with the symbols and the emblems of LGBTQI that they just don't know about it. They don't know. The LGBTQI colors is more of like the rainbow. This is it. People connote it, they wear it, and then if you like pictures, it's beautiful. So you will like it, you will love it. So you have LGBTQAI plus or A plus. It is because of the ranging names that has come with it now. And it's basically representing this. This is the color, the official colors for LGBT pride. So any institution you go out, like in Europe, and then you have this emblem there, it means that it is they welcome it, they accept it. If you go to any foreign mission in Ghana and then you see this emblem there, it means that it is acceptable there in that particular. But people don't know it. So some people, I see my friends buy iPhone cases, especially iPhone 11 phone and 10 phone. They have these cases that and then 8 plus 2 years. They have this phone case that comes in these colors. I've seen now there are lots of dresses people wear. When you go to Mokola, people buy lots of dresses in the rainbow. It is the normal rainbow colors, but just take care of the colors that is there and then note yourself in it. For you know, probably when you're wearing it, maybe if you had to be in a Western land or maybe a well acceptable country where it is there, people will connote you to be that, oh baby, you are telling yourself that you are a member of the LGBT crew or clique in wherever they find themselves. So that is the official colors for this. You're going to open the full line, so let us have your thoughts of it on how best we can create a strong resilience against LGBT in our schools. What can we do? What can we do? Like, how best can we accommodate this particular idea, but see to it that in the context of our culture and our laws, since it's not permissible, it's not permissible. But do what to bring the idea of our students or their minds to this idea that it is existing somewhere. But we in Ghana, we just do not want it. Call us on 055-979-2497 or 055-975-960. I have just 10 minutes more to call it a day. Do what to call quickly. And then let's please, calling is going to be on LGBT in the schools and not on court. I beg you. That's where you're getting education from. So my director, Selassie, is saying that I should be stringent on it. So please, when you call, do well to have conversation on the LGBT issue in our schools, but not on the court case. Not on the court case. That is it. I'm seeing some funny comments that are coming in, but I'll do well to read them subsequently later. So call us on 055-979-2497 or 05975-960. I think that what the gentleman cited has been sent to me right now. Gays have rights and I'll protect them. Oyelita, 30th January 2013, 7:10 p.m. Now Oyelita, Minister Designate for Gender, Children and Social Protection, says that gays and lesbians, like all others in Ghana, have rights which must be protected. She declared that the Constitution guarantees the rights of all persons, irrespective of their sexual preferences, and that every citizen's right must be protected. Mrs. Oyelita has come under attack for advocating for the rights of gays and lesbians in Ghana. A group calling itself as Concerned Clergy accused her of promoting the practice of homosexuality in Ghana and vowed to kick against her approval as a substantive minister. They claim that her action as an advocate for gays and lesbians is an affront of Ghana's cultural values. They sent an unsigned petition to the Parliament Appointments Committee, where Oyelita is being vetted for her appointment as Minister for Destiny, spelling out their objection for a nomination. The story continues, blah, 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 there. So that is the one we had for Oyelita. We'll look for the others too and read it accordingly. So call us on 055 9792497 or 05975960 concerning what you think about LGBTQI issues there. So we have some CSOs and religious leaders say that there must be a kick against LGBTQI. And the QI is intersex. So that is it. So it is lesbians, LG, gays, bisexual, transgender, yes, LGBT, yes, transgender. The other one is queer and then intersex. I don't know what the A2 means, but also there's P, there's S, there's a whole lot of words. Just go to Google, you find a lot of them, and then you know what exactly it means. Funny names, they call it. But call us on 055-979-2497 or 055-979-960. Do I have a friend on the line? Hello, good morning. Hello? Sorry about that. Call us back on 055-979-2497 or 055-979-5960. We're talking about how to create or build a strong resilience of LGBT against it in our second cycle institutions. Because from our research, that used to be, it seems to be the breeding hub of lesbians and gays in Ghana, where sometimes you don't put much attention into them, but they move from that level and move to the tertiary institutions, and then they come into the larger society. Hello, good morning. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. My name is Matthew.
Okay, Matthew. Why are you calling from Matthew? Why are you calling from Matthew?
I'm calling from Upper East.
Adan?
Upper East.
Upper East. Okay, Upper East. Okay, Matthew. Let's hear you. Go ahead.
I'm saying down to get on the association with Google.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Matthew. I'm most grateful. Okay, thank you. Thank you for... Okay. Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging the good works of Adoatv Television. We are most grateful to you, Matthew. Keep watching our programs from morning to evening. Don't change that dial. We have another friend on the line. Hello, good morning. Okay, call us on 055-979-2497 or 05975-960. Just 5 minutes more with some few... My friends are sending me nasty messages, but I wouldn't read them out, Yeah, friend of line. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello? Good morning. Good morning. Hello?
Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Your name and where you are calling from, please.
My name is Gideon, calling from Upper East.
Okay, Gideon, let's hear you, Gideon.
I like your show. I like what you're doing. God bless you. There's one thing I just want to say. In this country, we need to change the constitution. After changing the constitution, we need to change a lot of people in the parliament house so that this country can be good. That is all I have to say. Because you can't be putting up a building and the consumption or the quantity and quality of the food you take in daily will increase. It will rather decrease. Look at the roads we have. Look at the way our system is. But every single day, our leaders don't see it, but rather import big cars. We need to change the constitution. We need to change a lot of people in the parliament house. Then the country can be good for us all.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gideon, for your contribution. We are still talking about how... We'll pick our last caller. Hello? 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 Hello?
Hello.
Good morning, sir. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, I think that he can't hear me, so he should call back and then we'll do our best to speak to him. It's a few minutes to 10. I'm most grateful to you for watching the show. My name is Reginald Robertson, the Morning Star. A big thank you goes to Selassie Captain George McLean, and the rest of the production technical crew. That's all to it, that we had a wonderful stream. And to all my friends watching, good morning to you. Tomorrow we'll be coming your waiting time tomorrow at 6 o'clock a.m. with Jonathan Ama to read the news. Thanks to him today. He did a fantastic job earlier. I hope that you also enjoy yourself there. And to come your waiting time tomorrow at 6 o'clock a.m. Enjoy the rest of our programs.